World? We alive. We got a great show for everybody today, man. We got some new music on a New Music Friday. You've entered A2HH Live. What's up, Coop?
What up?
What's up? What's up? We got new Conway. I was about to say Conway West. We have new Conway the Machine. Um, God don't make mistakes. We're gonna talk about this album, and we're also gonna talk about episode 2 of Kanye West's documentary Genius. Man, shout out to everybody coming in the room. I want everybody who's listening to us on all platforms to make sure that you go to the According to Hip Hop YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know when we're going live, so you can join the conversation and holler at us about what you're thinking about these albums, episodes, and everything. We want to be real interactive with people. Shout out to everybody coming in the room, man. People are coming in the room very quickly. Cool.
I bet they are. I bet they are.
Listen, man, they say we overrate Conway. That's what they were saying. That's what
we're starting off today?
No. I mean, that's what the Kendrick fans were saying last week. They say we overrate Conway.
Was that what they were trying to say last week?
That's what they were saying last week.
Well, here's the reality of the matter. We have so much evidence over the last 5 years that he's not overrated, and what we got today was more evidence.
More evidence.
Been a murder.
I see somebody in the chat saying 4.5 out of 5.
It's been a murder.
4.5 out of 5. Man, I want to get myself together for this show, man, because I know you got hella notes. I got a lot to say, too. I had an interesting conversation, man, with a young podcaster. Shout out to Juice out there. He wanted to get on our show, because he's of a different generation. And he was like, look, man, but I'm going to be real. Like, I don't think that Biggie is the GOAT. He only got 2 albums, and I can respect that, But one thing he said that really struck with me, and we'll get to this later. He said, I respect Jay-Z's longevity and all, but there wasn't a year where I could say he was the man. Start going through the years. I understand what the young man's coming from. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Juice, but we kind of got to 90, because I said, all right, definitively, I was like, well, 99, 2001. And he said, and I think this is a very good case, he said 99 is still DMX. I was like, I was there. Kind of was. And so, especially if we're talking about Volume 3 and the fact that Flesh of My Flesh was December 98, carried over, and then he dropped, and then there was X in 99. What's My Name? What These Chicks Want From Me. I was like, you know what? You might have that. And then that famous Woodstock footage, that was 99. Where DMX was out there on stage in Woodstock, that was 99. I think DMX was bigger than Jay-Z in 99.
How old was Fam? How old was Fam you talked to today?
How old is Juice, man? He can't be no more than 25. You know what I'm saying?
25? Yeah. That's a nice little historical recall by that young man. And when I'm looking back on it, because when you said Flesh of My Flesh, December 98, I was like, oh, yeah.
And then, so 01, if we definitively give Jay 01, which I think is the year to give him, he lost the battle to Nas in that year. So, interesting.
A comparable album got released, even if you feel like The Blueprint is better, which you're totally entitled to. Stillmatic is a comparable album.
But it happened in December, so I will say that whole year, Jay-Z was riding off of the momentum of some of the stuff in the Dynasty, right? And then 01, he pretty much had that whole year for the Blueprint. Summer Jam that year, that was 01. So I'll give him 01.
Right, but there was that Stillmatic freestyle diss over the Paid in Full beat, and then there was Ether, and then Stillmatic was great. So it's like, even with that, it's like,
Even with that, it's not hands down. And this is me talking. I would say 02, Eminem. I'll give Eminem that. 8 Mile, you know what I'm saying? The Eminem Show, which I think is his best work. 03, that's 50 Cent. 04, that's Kanye West.
Hold on. We done got a little back off anyway.
But we'll get back into that stuff.
Right.
This is kind of a show intro because, we're getting people in the room before we start talking about this Conway the Machine. But it does kind of go in context in the fact that past couple of years, the best MC in the game has been Conway the Machine. And today, he proved that even further. A lot of people, the criticisms that there are for MCs like himself, Benny, Pusha T, is the fact that it's dope boy rap, dope boy rap, dope boy rap. We constantly on this show highlight the cow. And that is the moment, one of the moments that lets you know if you're really a Griselda listener, this guy's different. This was a moment early to let you know this guy's different and he could do a lot more. I feel like on this album, he took that album type of approach and gave us a lot of versatility, a lot of deeper messaging, spoke about some things that he normally doesn't speak about, and it flowed. Production was on point. I understand the decisions. Like we were saying, I think it was last episode, the choice of piano, putting those two songs out, didn't really blow us away. But I was like, yo, we might need to listen to these in the scope of the album. And that's exactly what this was. Nas the GOAT says Conway the best MC over Nas. That's disrespectful. Okay, all right. Listen. I'll put this in context. Yes, I believe Nas is probably the best MC in the game based on what he did last year. But we're talking about people in the primes of their career. And if anyone thinks that what Nas is doing right now is prime Nas, they are more than willing to feel that way. But in my opinion, I lived through some of the prime Nas work. And so I kind of put what Nas is doing more of on a LeBron level right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's awesome work, but I kind of want to, the people who are creating their legacy right now. What Nas is doing right now isn't creating his legacy, it's cementing his legacy on a whole nother level. So it's a little different.
So to all of those things, let's start unpacking them. First of all, Nas the GOAT is making very valid points. Mm-hmm. But let me start off by saying this. This album is not better than Magic, and lyrically, he does not sound better than Nas does on Magic as an MC. And so for that reason alone, Nas is technically right now the best MC walking around. But Mike, to all the points that you're making, he is somewhere else so special already, and what he's really doing is recrafting the way that we address the narrative of it. Mm-hmm. And so not fair to put Conway in a grouping with somebody who is literally reshaping the narrative of what we look at in the GOAT MC and having a run this great this late. And so that's not fair to Conway, which brings me to my point. Well, if your biggest critique as Conway as an MC after listening to this album is that he's not Nas, then he's the best MC in the game. And that was my critique walking away from this album. It's like, well, the only guy that raps better than this right now is Nas. Well, he's the greatest MC of all time. So this guy is literally one of the greatest MCs of all time. This is the type of album, Mike, this was my first note about this album. This is me as a Prodigy fan. Mm-hmm. I said, damn, I wish Prodigy would have made an album well-rounded like this.
That's saying a lot. I want to get to a super chat before you really get into it because I know you got a lot of notes. Shout out to Ray Realm out there with the super chat. Shout out to Ray Realms over there with the super chat. He said, that track Locked and Loaded on Conway's album is vicious. All across the board. Did you guys see Conway say Beans is gonna sign the drum work music? My bad.
I didn't see that.
Didn't see that. I like that.
Makes me happy.
I like that. You know what I'm saying? And I love the love that Beans is getting. You know what I'm saying? Like he's well deserved of it. I think we've said on previous shows that Beanie Siegel being the MC at the caliber that he is, having to basically work his prime years and make his albums under the circumstances that he did, he made the best music possible. When you have another artist that is on his run, and we'll get into that later too, that is in his prime run, and he has to sign off on all of your beats or all your production that comes through, and it's notable that he has taken some of your tracks. The fact that Beanie Siegel was able to make the incredible music that he did in that period speaks to his greatness. Straight up.
It does.
Michael Sanders with the super chat, and I'm gonna let you go, Coop. He says Conway's new album is some mid. I love Conway, but I think it's an okay effort.
Let's stop. Hold on. Let's stop right there with a couple of things. Let's stop right there with a couple things.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, this album is not submitted. What it is, and this is what we spoke to, Mike. I told you. I said, you want to know what? No. Let's go back to Siegel. We're going to address the fact this album is not submitted, but I want to go back to Siegel since we bought Locked and Loaded. Locked and Loaded is a great way to start off this album, Mike, because it's on message with who Conway is and what Conway's core base is, and it's right in line with Siegel. A couple of notes about Siegel. When you're hearing Siegel on Keep Dealing, off Pusha T's Darkest Before Dawn a few years ago, you're like, man, what has happened to Siegel's voice? And you realize his voice is never going to be the same. But what you really hear on Keep Dealing is like he's not lyrically like in the same place, and so you're kind of like a little disturbed by that. But Siegel's more in pocket and sounds more like Siegel, the lyricist on this record, even though vocally he's obviously not the same anymore. And so it's a great way to start off. If he is signing with drum work, I'm super excited for him about that. This album is not some mid. This album is well-rounded and different from an artist that makes this style of music that Conway typically makes. That's why I said, damn, I wish Prodigy would have made this album. Because you want to know why? That's the only thing that really kept Prodigy from being in the upper echelon when he was here. Is that he wasn't well-rounded. And here's exactly what I'm about to say to it. A lot of dudes talk about hustling, but then there are dudes that talk about hustling and murder, Mike. You feel me? Like Prodigy and Conway, they talk about hustling and they talk about murder and robbery. Like they don't just talk about the hustling side of things, they talk grind. All right? You don't hear that grimy killer talk really on this album. What you hear is a man that's addressing his depression, his alcoholism. The beat selection reflects his mental state. Very much like, and listen to what I'm about to say, very much like Redman on There Is a Dark Side, if you're going to catch my drift. Remember the beats to There Is a Dark Side? It fit Redman's mood. And it wasn't until you listen to it a couple times that you really understood. It's like, oh, no, he's somewhere else. This ain't the rah, rah, rah guy. He's still there. And it's like, so that same gritty guy is there. And he really starts off the album giving you that guy. But the point was to show you the other facets of the guy. So
he got really real on this album.
He got really real.
And I liked it. And I enjoyed it.
Right. And you can't knock. Like, think about what the critique is. Well, all he talks about is selling drugs and shooting people. It's like, well, there's not really a lot of that going on this album. There is him talking about hanging out with the Pagulas who own the Buffalo Bills in the press box, because guess what? That's really going on. There is him talking about not seeing his son because he's having issues with his baby mother. That's really going on. You feel what I'm saying? Mike, he tells a story at the end of the album about the night that he got shot. He tells the prelude to it. That's real. And so when the guy is actually talking, listen to what I'm about to say. When the guy's actually talking like Scarface and lyrically rapping like Nas,
I was just about to say, this album as far as tone-wise reminds me very Scarface-ish. And you hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly what I was getting from it. I'm going to go to the track list real quick.
My specific thought was that he's more Scarface than Beanie Siegel on here. Because, he's usually more on the lyrical side of it. It's like, no, he's making you feel it this time, and he's sprinkling like his top level lyricism in.
Yeah.
I got tons of notes. We can keep on going. I feel like this was a more steady production job beginning to end from A King to a God. He picked beats that fit his subject matter, that fit his mood, even if the mood wasn't like the super gangster guy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I liked it. I mean, just our first couple listens, and I love From a King to a God. I mean, there's some. I don't want to say I like it more. I like it just as much right now. I'll put it that way. Right. I don't know if it's because it's new or whatever, and we'll let some time, mull over that. But this kind of hits you in a different dimension. Shout out to Nas the GOAT for the super chat. He said, honestly, I don't think Conway is out rapping J. Cole right now. J. Cole's the best MC in the game. I think Benny is still slightly better than Conway as well. You know what? I'm a Benny guy. Anybody that's been listening to the show since we've been doing this thing and really praising Griselda High knows that. But Conway's rapping on a different level than Benny right now. If we're talking about putting together the music, I mean, I guess if all three guys were on the track, maybe we could debate about things like that. But when it comes to putting together that skill set on a record and on an album, Conway is running away with it from these guys. You know what I mean?
That's what I was about to say. So let's say that you feel like lyrically that all these guys are on the same level. Or what I'm going to submit to you is, well, who makes the best songs and the best albums? Because that's Conway.
Yeah. Because from a king to a god, and this right here, God Don't Make Mistakes, like Benny and J. Cole haven't really touched that in the past 3 years, to be perfectly honest.
Definitely not in the last 3 years. And Forest Hills is the only album between the two of them that even like needs to be considered or
not
mentioned.
Tana Talks 3? I was going to say 4. I want to hear 4.
Tana Talk 3 maybe. I, in the back of my mind, I was thinking Tana Talk 3, but I don't.
But it ain't from a king to a god in this.
No. It's not, because here's the thing. Like, how about this? I told you, like, Rick and 97 Hove are my favorite songs on Tana Talk 3. It's like Lemon, Jesus Crisis, and Juvenile Hell are better than those records. They are.
Shout out to Kenneth Palmer for the super chat. He says, There's a Dark Side. It's an underrated album. We always kind of speak of Redman in underrated tenses as well. I mean, Redman, he's a pioneer when it comes to, you know, that rah-rah shit. That bully foot rap. Actually, a lot of this kind of, I mean, outside of the dope talk, but just the punchline heavy shit that we really like from Conway, at least the approach, that does kind of start with Redman to a degree.
Yes.
So, okay, let me go to the track list of this album. And I want to ask the people in the chat who have heard the album, what's your favorite song on the album? Because we always do this when new albums come out. I saw DeCarlo in here ask earlier if we like it better than the Currency. We'll get to that, I'm sure. But what's your favorite song on this album?
I don't know what my favorite song is yet, but I walked away from this album feeling like Tear Gas with Lil Wayne and Rick Ross was the best song.
I like that song. And you know what's crazy?
I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of notes about that record.
Okay, we'll get it. Let's do it. Let's get into the notes about that record, because you know what? When I heard that record, actually when you see the title and you see the feature on there, you're kind of thinking it's going to be something else. And then it turned out to be, you know, so as far as me, it turned out to be something I didn't expect. The tone of a song.
It's a special record.
Yeah.
So let's first of all start off by saying that, like, we've now heard Wayne get on Griselda tracks now, like, for a minute. Like, this is the second track him and Conway have done together, because they were on Ritual with AZ off Do or Die 2. And Wayne was on Bash Money. Like, can we just say this? Wayne is out here annihilating the track. This is why I be saying it's like all that Drake talk. When Wayne does verses like this is why I don't want to hear that Drake in the greatest MC conversation, because he's not better than Wayne. And all Wayne's been doing like the last year and a half, 2 years is giving evidence to that. These are bars. These are crazy bars. Like, he is rhyming his ass off right now. I'm like, people should be afraid of him for the first time in a very long time. They should be afraid of him for the first time in a long time. And I want to say this about Conway. Conway is aware that he's in this space and is okay rapping right next to him and is rapping just as well.
Wayne is, I mean, he's so proven in what he's done, and he's so influential to a certain generation. I'm one of the people who, I wasn't wowed by Wayne until, like, you know, I think it was Dedication 2. Obviously I liked the Carter 2. And I liked the Carter 1. I liked some things he was doing on there, but it never was like, okay, he's spazzing and he's, you know what I'm saying, in that conversation. All that to be said, man, he's earned his stripes out here. He's one of the most influential MCs ever, especially when you talk about the current generation. And he doesn't have to be doing what he's doing right now. He needs to be the one that's taking that Kendrick Lamar break. he's earned that. You know what I'm saying? This man has been doing this since like '97, since he was a child. He's earned that.
BG's is before '97, I think. The BG's album with him and BG, like he's like 13 years old. Wayne is
Wayne's been doing this since he was like 13, 14 years old. As far as like on a high level,
take a 5-year break.
On a high level, we could say Carter 1 or maybe 500 Degrees, wherever, you know what I'm saying? And then not to mention the mixtapes, all that stuff. But
his peak starts at Carter 1.
Yeah, where people start recognizing him to this degree. But again, he doesn't have to be doing this. And it's really impressive in the fact that he's spreading the love. And once again, and I hate to continuously bring Kendrick Lamar in these conversations, man, but it's no excuse. You got somebody like Lil Wayne who does not have to be doing this. His legacy is cemented. Let's keep it real. He probably doesn't need the money or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is love. This is love. It's unnecessary. He doesn't have to be doing this. He's cemented. And so anybody out here want to talk like they the top MC in the game and you ain't making no music and doing no features or whatever, man? Come on. No excuse. You want to know what?
So here's what I wanted to finish off with my thoughts about the track, because it's important. Listen to what I'm about to say. Like, so we're always talking about how Conway and Wayne are on this record. But here's who Rick Ross is too, Mike. When Rick Ross is jumping on a record, even if Wayne's on the record, and even if Conway is the best MC in the game, who is the beat and the structure of the song tailored around?
Yeah, man. Ross is a pace setter.
What does that say about Rick Ross on this track? That the track is built around for him and that he's the closer and closes the way closers should. Closes the record out the way closers should. And he's been doing this for a minute on records, low key, like Ali Boumaier comes to mind, where it's just like, no. He belongs right there because he's great and he's iconic and people just need to start recognizing more. This was the best moment of the album to me. They all performed at a high level and did what they did best.
Andre Shashir, shout out to Andre Shashir, man. You've been with us for a minute. He said, I was at the barbershop yesterday and I said, Nas is the greatest lyricist. Dude said, Wayne. Nah. And see, that's the thing. And, again, I'm kind of with Andre on this. Like, I like Wayne. But for a generation, he is what some of the great lyricists were to us, to that younger generation. Now, I don't get it totally. I get it, but I don't get it.
I don't all the way get it, but I get it enough that I'm okay with it other than the passes that I see handed out to other people. If we're going to give it to somebody from his generation, I'm okay with giving it to Wayne lyrically. He spazzes on track. My point this year is that I want to see evidence. Wayne got evidence of that. Yeah. There's evidence.
Speaking of evidence, and the person that I'm going to name, not to cut you off, but speaking of evidence of the person I'm going to name, I was really impressed with T.I.'s performance, too.
So let's go ahead and segue to my next point about this album as a whole. It's like, let's talk about all the guest appearances on the album because they are all wonderful, which is part of why this album is wonderful, which is why I don't know why I do calling it a mid. Name a bad guest appearance on here.
Well, I think one of the more impressive and I guess just coming out of nowhere appearances, unpredictable appearances, the Jill Scott. We were looking at the track list. We were like, okay, Jill Scott, well, he's going to rap on this. You know what I mean? And he got 3 verses on this. She's probably doing a hook. No one expected Jill Scott to be spitting some bars on there, and I loved it. And it was great. She came with that whole, Moni Love, Queen Latifah era type of flow. It's awesome.
It's a great record.
Yeah, it is. It's a really, really dope record. I think he should put it out. I know one of the things that we looked at when we saw this album was the features on there, and we're like, okay, man, this might be too many features for a Conway album because we want to hear him. Once again, I've talked about this before in previous shows. Even though on paper it looked like a lot of features, it didn't feel like a lot of features. And when you dictate the pace, it doesn't have to feel like a lot of features.
It's another beautiful thing about the album, Mike. You actually just took one of my notes away from me under the guest artist points, was that a lot of guest artists still totally feels like his album. He puts people in his zone. He got Jill Scott rapping and thugged out in Buffalo, like in his zone. And it's actually beautiful. And this is what I mean is like, no, like I wanted to hear Prodigy do something like that instead of Mobb Deep make Hey Love. You feel what I'm saying now?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
That's the way that you do it. So Conway understands the mistakes that have been made by artists like him previously, who he loves, I believe, specifically P. And he's actually showing his mastery of it. That's what I'm saying. This is a dude that's talking like Scarface, but he's rapping like Big and like Nas and like Jay. Like,
you know what I got from this album, though?
Not normal.
You know what I got from this album, and it's something you've alluded to for some time now. His versatility is continuously expanding. Because the album that he dropped last year, he showed that he could do a lot of other things. You know, it was more so for bangers and I mean, he's shown us with songs like KD, like that he can do whatever. You know what I mean? You know, when he jumped on that Murder Beats track that was on From a King to a God, I forgot the name of the song. It was impressive stuff.
Yeah,
and this right here, he's showing that, you know what, I can go the whole other direction and do none of that too. Like really, and I know we're talking about Benny and J. Cole. I think that was brought up by Nas the Great. But those guys haven't shown us this level of versatility. As great as J. Cole is. And I think that J. Cole's done some great features over the past, you know, 3-4 years, even beyond that. But if we're talking about his own individual music, I don't think he's shown us this level of versatility.
No,
in my personal opinion.
No, not on his albums, no.
No, I'm talking about on his albums. I'm not talking about jumping on a song with Janet Jackson or jumping on a song with Benny or whatever. And I think that's impressive. And we spoke to that a few weeks back. But when we talk about your own individual catalog of music, Conway is showing us versatility that honestly nobody's showing us right now.
Let's talk about this Cole thing just briefly and kind of leave it right here. We're starting to look at it now and realize it's like, well, you're all-time great at jumping on somebody else's stuff and flexing, like Jay, like Big, like Nas. Like, no. He's proving himself to be all-time great at that, like literally right now. And if you're starting to go back and look at it, but it's like, we keep asking you to do that on your album. We don't have to ask Conway that. And as far as Benny, let's go back to what my second note was after all the Prodigy points was, once again, Conway is on message. Because here's the thing, and here's what I mean when I'm saying he's on message. Well, somebody who's been through the things that he's been through, I can see him struggling with alcohol and depression, can't you?
Yeah.
Money don't change that. Money don't change the memories of that night. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's real, and it's like it's still on message to who he is. And quite frankly, he took what his biggest critique was and he minimized it, which was, well, what? It's too much bang, bang, bang. Literally, I think the only record where I hear the boom, 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 boom is the Piano Love.
Yeah.
I can't even remember hearing it on any other record. So
people in the chat are saying that we're bugging.
Are we?
Are we? I mean, I mean, again, I know a lot of people are probably saying that J. Cole. Y'all think that? Let me say it like this. Let me ask people in the chat. Do y'all think that J. Cole's a better overall MC than Conway? Right now. And I'm not talking about, you know, we're going to go back to like Born Sinner and all of that stuff.
Forget that right enough stuff. Okay.
Go ahead.
Look here. Put Cole and Kendrick's catalogs together, and that's about how long Conway's catalog is. You feel me? That's how much material he's recorded. That's why I keep on saying, it's like, stop talking like this dude, like, just because y'all started recognizing 18 months ago. You feel me? He's been here. And his output, listen to what I'm about to say. His output is very much Wayne-like in his prime. In terms of his ability to craft out projects, full projects, and put them out in a brevity of time, and then be quality. And it is there. And if you're going to tell me J. Cole is better.
People are saying J. Cole is better. I'm seeing it in the chat. But I want to know why.
Listen to what I'm saying. No. Show me the evidence after Forest Hills Drive, because I can give you albums of evidence.
Shout out to Ray Rims with the super chat again. He says, is it fair to say that Conway has been top 3 MC for the past 3 years? I believe so. I don't think we've seen his best work.
It's possible.
It's possible. I mean, and that's what's so dope about a project like this, where it's like, it's real, real dope. But I could see him even making something doper than this. And I love, listen, man,
Nobody said this album was a classic. Like, I didn't say it was a classic. But is it a really dope record? Yes, it is. Is it a really consistent record? Yes, it is. Is it a dope production job? Yes, it is. Is he the MC that he was from a king to a god? No, he's not. But that's why I said this live, and you can go check the tape. I said what he is doing right now lyrically is like on some 95, 94, 96 Nas and big shit. It doesn't happen regularly. And so when he pulls up next year and it's like, oh, well, he wasn't rapping like he was on From a King to a God. It's like, no. I told you guys don't rap like that normally. It don't be happening regularly.
Nas the GOAT asks, is Conway ahead of J. Cole on the all-time list?
That depends, and that's why we got to do that scale again, because here's what I'm going to tell you. Conway's going to win the catalog conversation.
Woo! I'm about to give me a drink.
Conway's going to win the catalog conversations. And he's going to win a lot of categories over Cole, but Cole's going to win overall, and here's why.
What's the overall, though?
His impact has been felt more, and impact matters. And so,
the thing is, man, when it comes to this impact conversation, do you not think that that's part of the machine? Do artists get...
I didn't say it was good.
But I'm just saying, do artists get props for the machine, the work of the machine?
I don't know. Cole's one of those people we don't have to ask those questions. Like, he's earned his, like whatever you feel like his placement is, he's earned it. The skills.
What do you think his impact is? Because I could argue that Conway's impact is, we saw it with the Jadakiss thing at the damn Versus.
Yeah, it's a direct.
I think that this Griselda shit has reinvigorated a whole era of MCs and people after it.
No, I think it's actually done a little reverse trickle down, like Raponomics, because what it's done is like Griselda's kind of like inspired like the Locks, who were kind of like inspired by like Nas, who was kind of inspired by like KRS-One. And if you look, all of those guys are currently dropping really dope shit. KRS-One, Nas,
KRS-One, yeah. Because what Conway has done and what Griselda has done, they have inspired the guys who influenced them.
So hold on. So let's speak to that right quick. You know what they're inspired by? They're inspired by the rhymes that they hear. And who is the wordsmith and the lyricist in this group? So he's responsible for bringing some of this New York rap rhyme shit back. Yes, he is. Yeah. But it's not going as noticed as Cole's.
What would you say Cole's impact is, though? I'm just asking. I'm being curious.
No, I think he's somebody that's considered to be arguably the greatest MC of his generation, and that's part of the impact. And here's what I'll tell you.
What's the specific impact, though? Like, who do we see that we're like, oh, okay, yeah, man, that comes off of J. Cole's tree?
Well, you want to know it? See, here's what I'm saying is that I don't feel that way about Conway either, because I feel like Conway is off of Prodigy and kind of Cool G Rap's tree. You know, like there are a lot of trees and like a lot of guys fall off the tree. And like, that's what I mean. It's kind of funny. It's like Nas is part of Cool G Rap's tree too, even though he doesn't talk that way. It's like literally in delivery and style and some of early material. He's on that tree. You look at somebody like Cole. Cole is on Nas's tree. He's on Rakim's tree. You want to know what all of these guys are? All of those guys are on Rakim's tree because they're all microphone fiends. All these dudes love to rap. But that's about it. But I personally think Conway is greater all time. But if people were to say Cole, they would have some proof of that. Most of the proof lies in Forest Hills and the guest appearances and the impact, though. But it's been felt. Yeah.
We're getting a lot of super chats tonight, you know. Put in the super chat, you want us to read the comment. Nas the GOAT says, cool. How is Conway going to win overall when Conway doesn't have a better album than Forest Hill or For Your Eyes Only? Whoa, calm down. Nah, I'm not with that comment. I disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay, first...
I think that From a King to a God, in my personal opinion, it's better than both. But whatever.
even hold on, even like let's say you feel a certain type of way about Forest Hills Drive, we can wash that with From a King to a God. And then after that, I'm gonna start whipping you with Conway's catalog over Cole's catalog. It's like Born Center and Forest Hills are his best projects to me. And the Villmatic mixtape.
Shout out to Mad Max with the $20 super chat over here. He says, look, Conway's last two projects are the only projects that the majority likes. Like this and From a King to a God. Nobody talks about Lulu's tape. Like the Benny, the Star, Cole has better projects. Not close.
Okay, so
there are a lot of forgettable projects in between. And I'm sipping Crown. I'm sorry.
So here's the thing when you're saying forgettable projects like Lulu. Lulu is a 5-song EP. And here's what I mean. No, it's not forgettable because Seen It a Lot and Shoot Sideways with Schoolboy Q is on there. You remember Shoot Sideways?
Shoot Sideways was dope.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, where it's like, no. That's why I'm saying he got so much material that you can go to each one of those projects that you saying this is like, and it's like you're gonna find out it's not good. Look What I Became isn't Everybody Is Food isn't The Black Tape isn't Like no, he's got a lot of what we would call 4s out of 5s.
Ross says the Conway Big Ghost LTD album is underrated. Love those records. Yeah.
Hold on, which one?
No, he's just talking about all of the ones that they did are underrated. Right. Yeah, I mean, he has so much material, and I think that not a lot of people are privy to a lot of the material that Conway's been able to put out. Yeah. And again,
hold on.
Go ahead.
No. Keep talking because
I was gonna say, not to sound like a broken record, but it's no excuse, man. These guys are putting in work.
Right.
You earn your titles, you earn your stripes. I've always even felt like that about what Jay was doing in the 90s and early 2000s. Like that level of consistency and being able to come back to back to back to back while others were taking years off and stuff like that. Like, you earned that crown.
No.
Right now, he's the best MC in the game. And
totally
it just is what it is. I mean, unless you want to count Nas, but, because what Nas did last year was unprecedented.
No. But quite frankly, we need to stop giving, like, as black men, like, and I'm not joking when I say this, we need to stop giving credit to the guys who don't go to work when there are guys who go to work all the time that are just as great as them. Because when you keep bringing up Kendrick and these guys who don't go to work, because that's what it is. Like, you're not going to work, and this guy goes to work all the time. Mike, This is just in my catalog from Conway.
Go for it.
I got Reject 2, 2015. Griselda Ghost, 2015. GOAT, 2017. The Black Tape, 2018. That's the one with Rare Form with Pete Rock on it. Everybody Is Food 2, 2019. Everybody Is Food, 2018. Everybody Is Food 3, 2019. Look What I Became, 2019. No One Mourns the Wicked. That's one of those Ghost LTD projects. Lulu, 2020. From a King to a God, 2020. If It Bleeds, It Dies, 2021. Big Ghost LTD project again. La Maquina, 2021. God Don't Make Mistakes, 2022. Mike.
La Maquina had bangers on it.
Had KD on there.
Yeah.
Had Scatterbrain on there. Right. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, like, listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoa, that's Cole and Kendrick's whole career right there.
Mad Max with another super chat. He says, LOL, taking the Truly Yours EP by J. Cole over Conway's EPs. Sorry. 3 Wishes hits different, man. And those Cole mixtapes, they were crazy. And Born Center was great. I mean, again, you guys are reaching back. We're talking pretty current right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when
No.
Go ahead.
Here's what's crazy about it. That's not his contribution to West Side and Benny's stuff either. Because, like, when we weigh these other guys, we weigh their contributions. Oh, that's not when because the verse on The Cow is on Hitler Wears Hermes 2, if I'm not mistaken. That's not even on his joint. That might be the best verse of his career and one of the greatest verses of all time. It's not even on any of his projects, okay? So he got stuff floating out there like Cole do just on his bro stuff where he is smashing. He's been in this zone for quite some time. Like, the guy from 2015 to 2018 is great. The guy from 2018 to now is all-time great.
I'm putting him over Cole, man.
Period. Did you just listen? I mean, I want people to go listen to some of these songs, some of these records on.
But again, they're gonna say we overrate Conway. No. After today, anybody who hasn't went and listened to this album, go ahead.
You don't like 200 Pies with 2 Chainz?
I do.
That's what I'm saying. You don't like From a King to a God? You don't like Look What I Became? That's the one that got Tito's back on it, where him and Benny's doing the back and forth.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. They're blistering, Mike. They sound like Ray and Ghost on that record. They sound like Ray and Ghost on the record. What are these people talking about?
It's the machine. They act like they forgot.
Right.
With a fatal shot. Lee laying in the vacant lot, trying to take my bread. You can take
the Scotty Biscuit. No. I'm looking at this work, man. No, he's been putting in work. Like the Devil's Reject 2. Sky Zoo is on there. Rock Marciano's on there. Why are these dudes getting down with him in 2015? Why is Rock getting down with Conway in 2015? Because he heard it. Okay. Why was Prodigy getting down with Conway? Why was Cool G Rap getting down with Conway? Listen to what I'm about to say again. Cool G Rap co-signed Conway.
Let me ask the J. Cole people. Do y'all feel like the off season's better than From a King to a God? Do y'all feel like the off season is better than this album?
It's not. It's not better than either one of these projects. It's just not. And I'm not the biggest fan of this project, but it's a really great project because it really doesn't have a lot of holes. Because my holes about it is like, well, he's not Nas, and there's no Lemon or Jesus Crisis, and he played it kind of safe.
I think DeCarlo has hit the point here. He said, y'all gonna lose this. J. Cole got me through high school, bro. His music means more to this generation. There it is. That's the
impact. That's the impact that I'm talking about. Listen to what he just said. Yeah. That's a great comment and point.
And there we have it. And if that's what it is, I get that.
No, I can eat that.
Yeah.
But don't tell me that he's just like pound for pound and bar for bar better, because it's like I'm looking at his catalog. It's like, man, y'all don't even rap as much as this guy, and he's just as good as you on the mic. You don't rap as much as him. He's as good as you on the mic. His 2 best projects are better than your 2 best projects, in my opinion. That would make him better to me.
Friday Night Lights is, that's a groundbreaking one.
Those are all 3.5. That's what I'm saying. Those are all 3.5s to 4s, though.
I think I was reading a comment in one of our videos where somebody said, I don't ever talk down on Kanye. And I guess, maybe that's just, I didn't even notice. But like he said that J. Cole got him through high school, albums like The College Dropout mean a lot. They do.
It's funny because I feel more like a Kanye fan than you, but I always feel like you're the one up here defending him more. And I think that'd be funny. Like about
you feel like you're more of a Kanye fan than I am?
Yeah, I do. Really? I feel like I feel him more. Yeah, I do. I just like, because my expectations are different, so I don't be with the bullshit, Mike. like none of it. Because it's like, I know what he's capable of and what he's really supposed to be. So it's like, no. You feed that to the sheep, fam.
It's one of those things where Kanye was that artist that was doing it during a time when I was trying to do it or wanted to do it, and believe it or not, some of the things that he ended up doing, I was like, damn, I thought of doing that. Like like when he had the marching band up there for the Chappelle block party. Those are some things that I was conjuring up, but it's like, so I see what he sees in those ways, and I respect him as a creator. I think that's more so what it is. It's like you got to respect the creators and respect where they're coming from with it. And I think that's why, and we'll get into that too, in episode 2, when Pharrell said what he said to Kanye, and he really felt where Kanye was coming from. Pharrell's a creator. He gets it. Mos Def's a creator. He gets it. And so I think that's probably what my Kanye connection is with that. I respect the fact that he's a creator and he's self-contained in that.
No, so I got 2 quick stories for you. One song that I recorded with my cuz when we were in a group together was a solo record that I had called Halftime, and he built the beat for me, and he meant for it to have like a live band feeling, for it to be performed with a live band. This is like 02, 03. So this is even before I think College Dropout dropped. And so like I feel you on that. You know who was the first person that really made me realize that Kanye did something different? It was Hollow. I was recording a record that was supposed to come out on my second album called Keep It Moving. I had this jungle style beat. It was dope as fuck. It's one of the best beats I've still ever rapped over. And Holla had the second verse. And on the second verse, he was talking about, since Khan came and made no name into something, I'm going to do the same thing. And I was like, oh, because I mean, you know, Holla, this is somebody I'm rapping next to and with and against like all the damn time. And Kanye had hit him. We're in the yo together every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when he's and this is on my record that I asked him to jump on. You know what I'm saying? And so when he said that on the record, I was like, yo, Ye is out here impacting culture because it's going on in the yo that I'm recording in with my right hand man. Like I got more records with Holla than I got with anybody.
Shout out to Holla, man. Yo, I want to get to. We got like 4 super chats to get to. Can I get to these real quick and we'll get back to Conway? J Mar says, I'm dead serious when I say this. There's no way you guys have the same ears saying that Conway is the best, on his best day, raps on the level as early Nas, Jay, and Big. Oh, yeah, well, you know. Okay, we'll get to that comment. Ray Rim says...
We can get right into it.
Hold on, let me get to the other super chats. You know, take note. Ray Rim says, J. Cole is nasty, but if he and Conway did an album together, the machine would out-rap him 70% of that project. Whoo, I want to get to that comment too. DeCarlo says, and see, that's not a nostalgic comment. I mean, you know, I'm just going to say that. DeCarlo says, you also have to consider that J. Cole is one of the last superstars in hip-hop. He had it in an era where they don't exist anymore. Well, that's interesting too. We could talk about that. And Nas the GOAT says, Jay-Z put out more music than Nas in the beginning, but we all know who's better. And that same thing goes for Conway versus Cole, in my opinion. All right, let's start with that first comment.
Let's go. So
first comment was the Conway being on the level of a Jay, Nas, Big.
Okay, so I didn't say that he was rhyming on their level in terms of all time.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is the way that he was rhyming, from a king to a god, was lyrically on par, consistency and greatness wise, and consistently getting message across effectively on a level of a 95, 96, 97 Big or 94, 95, 96 Nas. I know exactly what I said. You can go listen from a king to a god and hear it.
Yeah,
it's there. Like that's why we talking about is evidence. Like, you want some evidence? The evidence is every record from a king to a god lyrically.
Yeah,
because lyrically, it is extremely hard as a writer and an MC on every single song to come off. It comes off on every record. That's some Big and Nas shit. 94, 95, 96, or Hov in 97. Like, in terms of, you're gonna get on the record, he's gonna say something that's gonna make you take note. Yeah, he did do that. Just because you don't like the talk doesn't mean it's not noteworthy.
Well, I think DeCarlo kind of hit to that it's kind of nostalgic in a sense. Like, it's certain people that we're just not going to say certain people are better than or at the level of.
I want to go to that 70%.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go to next. What do you think would happen if J. Cole and Conway were doing a project together?
What he said was going to happen, because Conway be showing up hungry every day.
I think so,
every
too.
Day.
I think so, too.
To be hungry.
Well, someone in the chat says that J. Cole just washed Benny, but
that's not
Conway's not Benny, unfortunately. I hate to say it like that, and that's not a knock to Benny or anything.
It's not. Benny hasn't out-rapped Conway on a record since George Bondo. That was 2020. It's 2 years ago. Pray for Paris came out in April of 2020. It's late February 2022. The last time Benny out-rapped Conway on record was on George Bondo, April 2020. They probably recorded around this time. It's literally been 2 years. It's not the same conversation. No, it's not.
It's not. I do respect the fact that, J. Cole...
It's not the same conversation, Mike. Benny just said lyrically Conway somewhere else, so it's not the same conversation.
I do respect the fact that, I think it was DeCarlo's comment to say that J. Cole's part of the last batch of superstars. Yes, it's kind of like the last batch of when the major labels actually had a hold on who was going to be next and who was going to get a rollout as a new artist.
Right. So hold on, Mike. I need you to stop right there because this goes to a point that I made that Conway made about the album. You want to know why Conway is here, really? And this is what I mean about how skilled he is, really. You just said something. DeCarlo just said something. He's one of the last superstars that kind of like the media, mainstream, all that, right? This pandemic shit made it about who could rap the most and who came out on top. And Conway said it in this album. That pandemic line about the artists not being able to get their shit dropped and he laughing in the background. Yep. He like, yeah. He's like, because what he's saying is like, now it's on even playing field. You ain't got nobody to pump you up or promote you. Whoever's the best is really going to show. And what happened when this climate became skills driven is that he showed himself more than anybody else. We do not know if Cole and Kendrick would have thrived in that climate that he just did. He came to the rise during a pandemic when the label shut shit down.
Yeah.
He got here because he was nice.
And how the rappers were rapping.
He was nice. He's nice. Y'all missing the point. And y'all missing the point about how embedded in the culture, how he got here is.
No, really.
You're bigging up this mainstream media shit while y'all following according to hip hop is supposed to be for the people. What are y'all doing?
Mad Max says y'all calling Conway Big, Nas, J.
Oh, I said the album lyrically, where he is, that zone he was in.
With him rapping like Ray and Ghost, and J. Cole is out rapping Conway.
Back and forth on Tito's back is like Ray and Ghost. Go listen to Tito's back. Go listen to Tito's back. You don't even know the record I'm talking about.
He said, I heard Cole out rap Push. Listen, I get the whole J. Cole love, and J. Cole deserves this love.
Cole's got the best verse on Game's album on Jesus Piece. Cole's got the best verse on Jesus Piece to me, and Kendrick's on there, Game's on there, Pusha T's on there, and Cole's got the best verse on the album. Ain't nobody taking nothing away from Cole.
I respect the fact that Cole's still outside, and like you said, 2020 kind of showed where the game was. Rappers were rapping in 2020. And when the majors didn't have like that control over who was getting the visibility, and it was no more visibility. It was all about the music and who could put it out. It wasn't about who was getting chosen to be on this festival stage because there were no festival stages. It was just the music and just the bars. And that's where Griselda thrived. That's where Conway basically took the game on a lyrical level and ran with it. And you know what? And I love to see that following year, Nas picked up on that and did the same exact thing. He was able to do that with KD2 and with Magic. You think in another batch of years, Nas is going to drop 2 albums in 1 year and drop an album like Magic? He knew everything was about the music. He understood things were about the bars. And it wasn't about who was on this festival stage, who was on this and that, who was being co-signed by this person. Rappers are rapping now. And that's why, again, I hate to continuously be redundant. That's why it's so jarring that this certain individual is missing in action. Because we're talking about rappers rapping right now.
Right, so we need to
Jay Electronica's even showing up again because it's time to rap.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And he's showing up rapping on Griselda albums. Yeah, he is.
Jay Electronica's showing up because it's not about who's on whatever stage. It's about making music and rapping.
So I'm going to say this again. What Conway did was kind of like some reverse trickle-down raponomics. By him being the core of this group as an MC and a lyricist, it thereby inspired a previous generation. By previous generation, I'm going to go directly to the Locks. In the Locks, you have Jadakiss, okay? Directly inspired. He hears that. Nas is hearing all of this going on too. He's hearing Conway. He's hearing Jadakiss and Raekwon on records with these guys, doing intros, giving them bars. And Nas is sitting back just like Jadakiss and Ray and all those guys are. It's like, oh, these guys are helping me reinsert what I really, really do and want to do into the climate. And so then Nas and guys like AZ start to reinsert themselves into this climate and make some of the best material in their career. And the guys who they were inspired by, like a KRS-One.
Yeah. Whose album is dope, by the way. We'll talk about KRS-One album.
Ridiculously dope.
KRS-One is cementing himself in that I don't want to say rant, but what he said at the verses, where he was like, "It's me, I'm the one,"
You want to know what?
He's showing that.
You want to know what I thought right now? And I listened to it today, Mike, and this is exactly my thought. Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and Cool G Rap or LL or Slick Rick cannot give me this album right now.
So, all right, so what you're saying right here on this show on February 25th, 2022, you're saying right now, KRS-One is the best MC out of that batch of 80s greats.
No, Rakim is still the best, but I always thought KRS-One was number 2. This is more evidence of why. I would still put him at number 2 from his era, but that doesn't change the fact that nobody from his era could make a project like we just heard. But Mike, I say that to say that all relates back to Conway, because Griselda's the one that got all these guys back on this rap shit, because they're the one that got New York back on that rap shit. That starts with Conway. That actually starts specifically with Reject 2 in 2015 and the verse on the Cow in 2016. So he's responsible for a lot that people are not talking about in terms of the craft of MC.
Because a lot of it's kind of happened underground, and it hasn't happened right in your face in a way that a J. Cole or Kendrick or Drake even has happened, you know?
Well, let's have a culture moment right quick, because I go back to this record, and this is what I mean. I go back to Microphone Fiend on Follow the Leader so much because here's why. It's the first time that I had ever really heard somebody spaz like that on record. Like, just go, 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 go. But the record be so great still, even though he's just going. Like, there's no hook on Microphone Fiend, is there?
No.
Okay, so that's, for me...
Microphone Fiend. But, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much...
Microphone Fiend is a culture moment, because it's one of those things where he separated himself skill-wise when he did that. He's like, man, no. Damn all these 16 bars. I'm putting all these bars together, and I'm still going to make a hot record that you can listen to in full and appreciate, but know that I'm the greatest MC still. And so I look for those Microphone Fiend records. And so that's why I go to Jesus Crisis. Jesus Crisis is one of those Microphone Fiend records. Where's J. Cole's Microphone Fiend record?
DeCarlo says, don't get it twisted. Industry matters. Conway don't have a Power Trip or Wet Dreams in his catalog. There's still levels to this.
He doesn't need one either.
Songs matter. Did we not hear the song with Jill Scott? Hold on.
No.
Did we not hear the song with Jill Scott on this current album? My thing is, if we want to talk about the machine and songs like Power Trip and Wet Dreams, if a song like this song with Jill Scott had that same level of push, this is a song you're going to hear on the radio all day, every day.
I want to get back to this rap. I know, and I hear all of that, Mike, and very valid, but I want to get back to this rap shit. Where's J. Cole's Jesus Crisis? Where's Kendrick's Jesus Crisis? Where's that Microphone Fiend shit at?
That's real.
That shit that cements you, that it says, it's like, no, I got this, and you're not taking this from me, because all the other greats have it. Hove got it, Big got it, Nas got it. Like, everybody else got it. And
Ray Rim
so when I'm called great,
no.
That's why I told you that Jesus Crisis is a moment. Lemon is a moment. Juvenile Hell is a moment. Those are Microphone Fiend moments where it's like, no, give me all of that. Give me that.
Ray Rim says, can anyone name 4 MCs more skilled than KRS in human history? If you can, please explain that in the super chat. We got a $50 super chat here.
Skilled?
And I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name, and you contribute so much. It's Tibonet, I believe.
We're going to have to get that enunciation.
Yeah. We'll get the let's get the pronunciation of that. He said, I bet y'all 50. Kendrick would drop would drop. Conway's voice and hook game stops him from being at the Biggie and Nas level. Conway versus Game in the verses would be dope. Let me read that one more time.
No, I heard it.
I bet y'all 50. Kendrick would drop. And I guess we're getting that $50 because Kendrick didn't drop. I appreciate your honesty here. Conway's voice, hook game stops him from being a Biggie and Nas level. Conway versus Game in the verses would be dope. I appreciate that super chat and you keeping your word. Kendrick did not drop an album. If anybody else wants to place any bets on Kendrick dropping any music, I'm taking them. I will send it to your Cash App because he ain't dropping shit.
Let's stop for a second. and we need to get Fam's name right because I think he just made the best point of the whole show. Because if you want to tell me that he doesn't belong in that stratosphere and it's about his voice, because he doesn't have a Biggie or a Nas voice, so he's absolutely right.
Yeah, not a lot of people.
Biggie's voice and Nas's voice is super special too. Like those are top 10 voices.
Okay,
so he doesn't have that. Like when I mean top 10 voices, I mean like I got like Biggie at like number 1 and like Nas at like 6. You know what I'm saying?
Who are your top 5 voices in hip hop?
Biggie, Tupac, and Method Man are the easy ones.
Biggie, Tupac, Method Man.
It's easy.
What do you feel about Ice Cube's
I was actually thinking about Ice Cube and Chuck D.
Well, Chuck D's definitely top 2 for me. Rakim's very high too.
So I'm more of a fan of Nas's voice than Rakim's voice, actually. So I have Rakim right after. I am actually, because it's like
which Nas voice though?
The Take It in Blood Nas voice specifically.
Okay, I can go with that.
That voice, that guy.
Oh, J Mar with the super chat says, "Ask Coop to recite a Conway iconic quotable." He's putting you on the spot. I know you got some ball.
My goals, I'ma make it messy.
I knew you were going there.
OG told me you gotta kill a nigga you love, do it clean, don't make it messy. Bell's palsy, bitches still say I'm sexy. Good night. Good night. Bell's palsy, bitches still say I'm sexy. Stop that. Stop that. Don't you ever do that.
Listen,
Fronted my homie caught a joint. He stopped answering. Been my nigga since grammar school. I don't know how to handle it. He said you keep leaving that going on. It's gonna lead to canceling. In other words, you can't let it slide. You gotta handle it. Lemon squeeze, lemon squeeze, lemon squeeze, lemon squeeze. Don't tell my nigga stay. Tell him to stay dangerous. Auntie hit the stem, almost fainted. Fiends love me in every ghetto, nigga. I'm famous. Have some fuck boys pull up, do you heinous? What are we talking about?
Yo, all right. I knew this was a question earlier. I think DeCarlo asked this. Is this album of the year so far? Because I know last week we were giving Currency and The Alchemist that consideration thus far.
I enjoyed Currency's album more, but I don't know if it's better. So we're going to have to wait and see because I would give both of these albums right now 4.5. For different reasons. I told you the Currency album is very Alfredo-ish.
It is. Shout out to another super chat. You guys are killing it with the super chats today, man. Kenneth Palmer says, he said, rather have an MC like Kendrick drop every 5 years and make classics than an MC drop 1 or 2 projects every year and make just an okay album. Now you guys say that, but what MC in hip hop has took a 5-year break? You guys are saying this just in like you're not really taking this in context.
They're not thinking about
People don't take 5-year breaks. Please, Kenneth, tell me who took a 5-year break and came back and made a classic.
No, who takes 5-year breaks and keeps their job, keeps the position at their job?
Well, no, I don't even want to say that because they're going to say this is different. But it just is. Let's just say in hip hop, right?
No. Let's say you leave on disability for 5 years from your job. Mike, are you coming back to the same job and the same pay rate after 5 years?
Kristen King says Rakim.
No,
I think we said this in the previous show. Rakim's group broke up. He no longer had a deal. He didn't come back and make a classic either.
I don't care about any of that, Mike. I care about the fact that when he stepped away, he was considered to be the greatest MC of all time. And so thereby he had a right to do that. He was the greatest MC of all time when he stepped away. So if he wanted to step away, that's just fine. People need to stop bringing up that Rakim stuff like it's the same thing. Where's Kendrick's microphone feed?
Joe Bro says Dre. No, Dre dropped that Aftermath album. What was that? 96? Was that 97? 92, 97? He's not even a rapper, though. Come on, man. Y'all gonna pull Dre out your ass? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a producer.
No. Ain't nobody trying to hear that either because it's like he was producing, I don't know, Doggy Style. He did shit on All Eyes on Me, Dog Food. Like, no. Stop making
And he left Death Row Records, had to start over. Nothing has changed here. Nothing has changed here.
Ridiculous. If one more person brings up Rakim, where's the Microphone Fiend record that Kendrick or J. Cole has? Since we keep talking about Rakim and his 5-year break. And Rakim came back and gave us The Saga Begins, and it's been a long time. Listen to what I'm saying. He better have something like The Saga Begins or It's Been a Long Time.
Nas the Great says Nas took a 6-year break, but when did Nas take a 6-year break? It wasn't in his prime.
It wasn't a 6-year break. It was a 4.5-year break, and it was 5 years.
It was like
his prime. It was 5 years past his prime. He had to go reinvent.
I don't even want to say that. He was like 8 albums in, like 8 or 9 albums in.
He wasn't even 8. He was 5 years past his prime. It's 5 years past his prime. This is ridiculous.
This is insane, man. You guys got to face reality, man. You know, I think it's a strong possibility. And LP said that Snoop got album of the year so far. I think it's a strong possibility, guys, and I know it's really tough to come to grips with. Kendrick might be done. Tell me anybody in hip hop who took a 5-year break and they came back running the game.
How about this? Hold on.
I mean, really? This? No, let's be real.
No, let's have some. No. I'm about to give people some real life context from somebody who has Nas #1 on his all-time list and has Rakim #2 on his all-time list, and then has Tupac, and then has Biggie, and then has Jay #5. Let's go back to 1997 and the 18th letter again. Do you want to know what album dropped the same day as the 18th letter in 1997, Mike?
Volume 1.
Volume 1. I went to my man Gary's Austin's house. We both lived right up the street from West Charlotte. He used to have a little Forest Green Trailblazer. He took me to the record store to get both of these albums. I put the Rakim album in. We listened to it. Put the J album in. My man Gary looked at me right now after he heard the first record, which is 1,000,001 Questions in Volume 1. He looked at me and he said, "We put the wrong album in first." And he was right. And that was Jay in 97 on an album that wasn't as good as the previous album. And he on that album is better than Rakim on the 18th letter outside of It's Been a Long Time, New York, and The Saga Begins. Yeah. And so that guy was the greatest MC of all time. That's why I keep bringing him up. Jay, at the time, was just being considered a top 5, 10 MC, and he was out rapping Rakim on that album. All of you guys that think Kendrick is about to come back and be the same guy, he was not the greatest MC of all time when he left, and that happened to the greatest MC of all time. A guy who I have at #5, and part of the reason why I have him that high is about this project and what I heard that day in relationship to what I heard to Rakim, because it was very clear to me that Rakim was still the greatest MC of all the time, but it was very clear to me who was on the horizon.
Madnan says Method Man from 94 to 98. I think we kind of covered this on last episode. If you want to talk about in-between work, we got Liquid Swords work. We got Only Built for Cuban Links work. We got Wu-Tang Forever work. This is between that time period. You got How High. Yeah.
Muddy Waters.
You got Muddy Waters work. You got How High in 96.
So hold on. Mike,
so within this break, what has Kendrick given us?
Hold on. Stop for a second right there. Let's go to the Method Man break. Listen to the classic albums we just named. Hold on. Let's not even go there. It's 94 to 98. Let's actually start appropriately with the first appearance, which is Rawhide from Old Dirty Bastards album. And then the Purple Tape. And then Liquid Swords. And then Muddy Waters.
Liquid Swords, by the way, hold on. Shadowboxing. I want to be very specific here. Shadowboxing. Hold on. Has Kendrick given us a shadowboxing in this break?
No.
I just want to be real.
Hold on. Let's be specific. Hold on. He's doing the last verse. He's the closer on Rawhide and does the hook to Rawhide on Return to the 36 Chambers. On the Purple Tape, Mike, he's responsible for the 2 best hooks on the album and one of the best verses on the album on what is arguably the most lyrical album of all time. The most lyrical album of all time. He has the 2 best hooks on the album, which come at the end of the album. And one of the 5 best verses on the album, on the most lyrical album of all time. And then we can go, Mike, to 1995. He has a hook and a back and forth on Living in the World Today with the Jizza and Mike, and then there's Shadowboxing.
Kenneth Palmer says Black Panther soundtrack. Listen, Black Panther soundtrack and his contribution there was some mid. I mean, let's keep it real, y'all. Y'all not putting that red light, green light, red light, green light. That's not in y'all quotables, is it?
That's not even mid, Mike. That's not even mid. Like that's how my Mike. You remember
The
the
Family
scene?
Ties verse is forgettable. Let's be
Hey,
real.
you remember the Flim Flam scene where they was like nigga sack D's. It's like that's what the Black Panther soundtrack was. It's like nigga sack D's. That ain't even no mid. It's like nobody even want to cop that. Stop that. What are you talking about? What are you
Yes.
talking about?
Ross also said meth never went away. He was on everything on that All Eyes on Me. He was everywhere.
Hold on. We're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet because he's on Muddy Waters too. This is 4 straight classic albums he's on. We talking 95 and 96. He's on Muddy Waters, Do What You Feel. That might be the best verse on the album. Might be by Redman on Do What You Feel.
You talking about that? I be the super lyrical individual. I be spitting through that Teflon material. The blow a pit off the schedule.
Do you want to know why he's rhyming like that?
Because Method Man's on there.
Hello.
Who want to flip with the acrobatic? I love Method Man's part on there, by the way.
I'm not, Mike. We're not done yet. Can I interest? Can we interest people in How High? Can we interest people in How High? From
Song changed my life.
Song changed the world, Mike.
Yeah.
One of the best rap songs ever. What are we talking about? Y'all talking about Kendrick Lamar. Show me some evidence. This is Method Man without a rap album from 94 to 98 with evidence all over the place that he's one of the greatest MCs of all time. The evidence is everywhere.
Yeah. J. Mar says, what will classify Kendrick coming back?
We're not. No. I'm not done. He better
Another album will classify him coming back.
Because we haven't gotten to Wu-Tang forever. The only reason that Triumph even holds up is because he came after Deck. They would have scratched that song. Mike, Deck's verse is so great that if Meth doesn't come with that next verse, you should scrap that record.
I don't agree with that totally, but I feel what you're saying. The fact that Meth came behind that Inspector Deck verse.
Reunited? Like what?
Oh, yo, his verse on Reunited is crazy. Yo, Method Man showed out on Wu-Tang Forever. You know, Scary Hours was my shit.
Scary Hours?
Oh my God. I remember sticking fiends at the 162 when we was starving, ducking 5-0, paying them dues. Don't disrespect Method Man like that, talking like this Kendrick break is anything equivalent to his break.
Yeah. Because you want to know what? On Method Man's break, there was all types of evidence of him murdering MCs. You understand that on most of these songs that we're talking about, he's the highlight.
But these are the things that Kendrick promised that he would do on Control. And it never happened.
Which is a song where he doesn't even have the best verse because Jay Electronica has the best verse on that song. And here's what's crazy about it. Mike, we are about to celebrate 2 years of our podcast in about 2 weeks. And it started off with a Jay Electronica review. My biggest critique about Jay Electronica was what? He don't work. He been putting in more work than Kendrick.
Jay Electronica has been putting in more work than Kendrick. That's crazy.
Jay Electronica puts in more work than Kendrick, y'all. Tell me that shit's not embarrassing.
Shout out to Miss Emil for the super chat. She said the industry and its fans giving Kendrick a level of respect that means he could take long breaks and people will always be interested. The challenge for him will be meeting people's expectations. And I'm glad you said that, and I agree with that. The expectations don't get any easier.
What I'm telling you is that when you don't make people's expectations, like when your core fans go pick it up and it's not that, it's over. So you should stop playing around like that.
I have a prediction.
Because you're not rocking on the mic to us.
Ooh, yeah, Method Man on Visions. He killed that too. Listen, I have a prediction. Kendrick's not dropping this year either.
The homicides. 94 to 98 is like a body sheet for Method Man.
Listen,
let me tell you why it's a body sheet. Because he realized that he was up first and didn't get the best shake at it, and he just literally obliterated everything in his path. Kendrick ain't do that. Kendrick's not Method Man. You want to know? We sliding him down, Mike. Just this 94, 98 Method Man conversation, I'm sliding him down. 18th Letter came out the same day as Volume 1. Rakim went out rapping Jay in 97. 94 to 98, Method Man is like is a rhyme animal of the highest order. Like, I'm so tired of y'all talking about this shit.
I have a bold prediction. And since people are placing bets out here, and like I said, I appreciate the bet being honored here. Listen, I have a bold prediction. Kendrick's not dropping this year. He's not even dropping in 2022. It's not happening. If you didn't drop with the Super Bowl and all the lights that were on there, it's probably not going to happen. The music he's putting together, at this point, the label's gonna just grab your album and put that shit out with the Super Bowl momentum. It's not coming out. They're talking about it might come out this summer. It's not dropping. We might get a 2023, but at that point, y'all Kendrick fans, and I'm a Kendrick fan. I'm gonna speak for myself too. We have to gather what we have in Kendrick's catalog, and that's it. It's over. The ride's done.
No, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like when people be like, "Oh, Kookie be riding out there." It's like, no. Nostradamus is some trash to me. Like that N album, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Streets Disciple, it's like, oh, like yeah, that nigga's definitely like in love and about to get married. He's only in the studio half the time. No, I be honest about the shit.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And it's like you have to be honest about it. This is like Mike. When I want people to understand, we just bought up Method Man tracks and records and contributions to the history of hip hop from 94 to 98 off the top of our head in memory because it's important to the culture.
Yeah. And
I want y'all to name, hold on. I'm literally
that Black Panther soundtrack is not memorable, guys.
I'm about to write these records down while we're finishing up the show, and I want y'all to give me the records during this break. That's what I'm talking about. Because he's not even Method Man. I'm sliding. He's definitely out of my top 10. He's not smoking on my top 5. He needs to drop some shit that's comparable to Dan. That's what needs to be going on. I'm about to start writing.
I think that's over, man. I don't even think he's going to drop anything comparable to Dan because the rumor was that he was going to put out a rock and roll album, right?
Where a saga begins on his upcoming album, like Rakim had on the 18th Letter with Pete Rock.
I mean, at this point, just rap, man.
Because I hadn't heard it. Because as soon as the 18th Letter dropped, like every mixtape junkie in the world started putting the Saga Begins on mixtapes because it was, classic instantly. Because he was the greatest MC of all time in 1997 still.
There's two things here, right? There's two things here. And I think that Kendrick is constantly recording because he's a recording artist. My thing is, I think that the music's just not coming together that well. That's number one. And number two is you do have to, at some point, put out records. It's a rhythm. I don't care how great you are. There's a rhythm to it. And when Kanye, as great as Kanye is, when he starts spacing out his material, you see a lack of quality in certain things, right? When the breaks got longer, the quality suffered because you're not in practice. And it's one thing to be in practice of recording stuff and actually putting stuff out. And so the fact that you're taking a 5-year break and we can't really go back in hip-hop history and really identify anybody who was able to recover from a break like that, who doesn't have a ghostwriter, because I know y'all want to say Dr. Dre, but he had some people who were in their prime writing his rhymes, and he had Mailman helping with a lot of stuff too on the production end. As an MC, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. We can't think of anybody who was able to recover like that.
You went out for a second, but you back.
I think you went out for a second too, but nothing went away.
I'm writing all this great Method Man shit down while you're talking, Mike, but that's cool.
Okay, all right, look. Do you have Currency still as album of the year right now?
I need to hear the Conway one more time, but I would probably give Currency the slight nod just because of entertainment value and factor. I damn near got a versus worth of material from Method Man from 94 to 98 without an album. You understand?
Listen, man, that's what I was saying when people talking this Busta Rhymes stuff. The real matchup for Busta Rhymes is Method Man if we want to be totally 100. Yeah.
Because here's what we forgot about. If we want to really keep it 94, well, he's on the what, too?
It's on the what, yeah.
I'll Be There For You. Well, there are 3 versions. Hold on, I'm just going to run down. This is off the top of my head. I'm not looking at anything. Rawhide, Living in the World Today, Shadowboxing, How High, Do What You Feel, Wu Gambino's, Ice Cream, Vision, Scary Hours, Reunited, How High, Bells of War, Triumph, Duck Season, Extortion, Off Hell on Earth, Mobb Deep. Got My Mind Made Up, All Eyes on Me, The What, Ready to Die, I'll Be There For You. He is part of 10 classic rap albums between 94 to 98.
It's fucking amazing.
He's part of about 10 classic rap albums. I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that. He's a part of Ready to Die. He's a part of the Purple Tape. He's a part of and when I mean a part, I mean
All Eyes on Me.
You remember his parts on these albums. You remember him on the Purple Tape. You remember him on Liquid Swords. You remember him on All Eyes on Me. And how many people can say they're on a classic Tupac and Biggie album? Raise your motherfucking hand.
I think he has my.
Can say that.
I think he has my personal favorite verse on All Eyes on Me. That verse was nuts. Fuck you losers. Why you fake jacks? I make maneuvers.
This is without his biggest song, which is "I'll Be There for You," which is there's the Takal version, the Razor Sharp version, and then the Puff version. All of the versions are great versions. One of the versions went number one. One of the versions went triple platinum. Other version was on number one on all the BET channels for like months on end. That's what his break looks like. While you keep talking about Kendrick, shut up.
Kendrick's. Hey yo, man, the Kendrick fans is gonna ride on this. Listen, we're Kendrick fans.
Ride on what?
I have said Kendrick is top 10. Coop wrote an article. Y'all could go to accordingtohiphop.com and y'all could search Kendrick. No, Coop wrote an article about Kendrick being top 10 when Damn came out. So we're all in Kendrick's corner. And I've always told people I didn't think that J. Cole was even on Kendrick's level because of Section 80, Damn, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Good Kid, Mad City. I've said these things, but we have to be realistic here. We got to be realistic here. All right, so where do you put Conway on an all-time list? Because I know people want to know.
Top 20. Top 20? Top 20, top 25, yes.
Darnell Lee said something very fair. He said that, oh, shoot, hold on. I almost banned you, Darnell, pressing the wrong buttons. He said, we need to end this K-Dot debate until he drops some official music. People need to call their favorite artists mid-verses as well. Yeah. Need to call out the artists' mid-verses, man, because that Black Panther stuff ain't it. That Family Ties ain't it. And you know what? And that ain't even an opinion. That's my opinion. But let's look at the game. And let's look at, did that shift anything? Did Family Ties shift anything? Let's be real.
Smart.
So top 20, right? So what would be your justification on that? His catalog, lyrical skill, his versatility, game-changing ability? Like, is that where we're at with it?
Yeah, I think the only thing that he's missing is the impact, actually. I think he hasn't been as
I think that's a machine thing. No pun intended.
Well, no, not really. And so this is why I always go back to Prodigy. Prodigy is really like the guy who he reminds me of, and you know how I feel about Prodigy. Prodigy was able to impact this culture without ever having to diversify or be that guy. So he is still missing something. Because Shook One's Part 2 and Quiet Storm exists. Like, Give Up the Goods exists. Like, those records, Pee on those records is so chilling.
Quiet Storm.
Even though that you know that he's not Big or Nas or Jay, you feel like he's right there.
Oh, he's something.
And he's right.
Yeah, he's something.
He's something, Mike. And Conway don't have that. But Prodigy's really the only guy I've ever heard talk that had it like that, where it's like, well, I know he's not as lyrically as good, but what he does, I'll put him up against that guy, even though that guy's gonna come in second. You know, like he can never be Nas lyrically, but he would say some stuff that it's like, well, Nas ain't gonna make me feel that way though.
Oh no, I feel what you're saying.
You
Obviously,
know? That Nighttime Vulture shit, it's like Nas's stories ain't like that. Where you talking about vague memories of last night, now it's all dawning. Look down and seen dry blood all on my garments. It stained up my guest farmers, color the norms. I hopped up, hot on my bed, holding my head. Flashbacks, gunshots flashed past my head. I could recall an 8-man brawl, 3-man fall. Bullets flew, had to drag my hand behind the wall. Left a wet trail, delivered these slugs like air mail.
Hey.
Had to let my man blood spill. An eye for an eye, you know my science of life. Is you man or mice, thugs are the cowardly type. He say that shit that stay with you your whole life. Conway don't have that yet, but he got everything else.
Mad Max says that Conway is in his top 50. I want to know all the people that you got ahead of Conway and why. DeCarlo, shout out to you for the super chat again. He said, if Conway can be top 20, then Big can definitely be top 1. Still have yet to hear a better MC than Big with 2 albums. I want to go into that because, you know, I was talking to Juice today, who has a podcast coming up as well. And I don't know how old Juice is. He has to be under 25, I believe. But he said that Biggie is not in his top. He said that, you know, you can't be a top MC with 2 albums. And what I said about Biggie, I said, listen, you would be far-fetched to find anybody in music that did more with 2 albums than Biggie. If you cut people off at the knees 2 albums, their material doesn't last as long as Biggie's have. Now, I will give Biggie that. I do agree with the 2 album thing to an extent, but what Biggie did with 2 albums was special because, again, Biggie gave us like 20 joints that we're going to hear from here on out in that 2 album span with other features and things of that nature. I don't want to pick on anybody, but since we just got through talking about the MC, Biggie has more long-lasting material, song-wise, than Kendrick Lamar has with just 2 albums.
Hold on. Can we stop for a second? Let's take a pause. Right now, as we stand today, if Kendrick were to go up against Biggie in a versus, he wouldn't win on any level.
He wouldn't. And I'm not just saying that as an old nigga or whatever. You know what I mean?
No. As in, we could leave Biggie singles off and Kendrick would still lose. I can give you 20 Biggie songs that never got released on radio officially, and they're still better than Kendrick's 20 best songs. So, like, when you that's why I'm saying when y'all are talking about him this way,
yeah,
like, no, fam, like, no, like, I know who he is too, but it's like the way y'all talking. Because here's the thing about it. I want you to listen to this, and I just wrote this down off the top of my head right now. Let's go ahead and do it.
You want to do a Kendrick and Biggie versus with Kendrick's 5 projects and Biggie's 2?
I do, but here's what we're going to do before that. KRS-One's first 2 projects with Boogie Down Productions are By Any Means Necessary and Criminal Minded. Those are classic albums, so you can cut him off at the hip right there. He's still all-time great. Rakim's first 2 projects, Paid in Full and Follow the Leader, Mike. You can cut him off right there. Still all-time great. Nas's first 2 projects, Illmatic and It Was Written. You can cut him off at the hip right there. Still all-time great. Biggie's first 2 projects, Ready to Die, Life After Death. You can cut him off the hip right after there. He's all-time great. Mike, name Kendrick and J. Cole's first 2 projects and tell me you can cut them off at the hip. That's what the fuck I'm talking about when they need to stop talking this shit.
Well, I don't know if that's fair because we could say the same thing about Pac, right? You know what I mean? Like, we cut Pac off at the first 2.
Pac is the MC, but Pac as an MC is not where these guys are lyrically as MCs. Like, I have Pac where I have him because literally nobody has impacted the culture and represents this culture and inside and outside of this culture more than him. Like, he is a one of one in this.
He's very different, yes.
Yeah, he. How about this?
I think him and Kanye are very different individuals.
No. How about this? In this culture, if we're picking one of ones, it goes Tupac, then Kanye.
I agree.
But he is
in that order.
And his records, and listen to what I'm saying. His records, even though he is not the MC that any of the guys around him are, he can fade all of those guys with his records. What does that say about him?
Now, I will say that.
What does that say about him?
Tupac's records are strong.
Tupac's records are strong.
I think Tupac could possibly even beat Biggie in a versus.
He can, because here's the thing. Like, my favorite Biggie record is My Downfall, but my favorite Tupac record is So Many Tears. If they go up against each other, it's So Many Tears.
Listen, I love Big, and I think Big is probably the most rounded MC skill set that I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Biggie ain't got no Dear Mamas.
Nope.
He don't.
Nope. How about this, Mike? Dear Mama's the one record that if you play it, after Biggie plays One More Chance, you're like, well, damn, Big lost that record. How did he lose that record?
And One More Chance is one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time, in my opinion.
No, it is. Like, if you play it up against Nothing But a G Thing, it's better. You play it up against I'll Be There For You. You play it up against everything except for Dear Mama, it's a better record because Pac got you. And ain't no getting out of that.
Ain't no getting out of Dear Mama. That's one of the best hip-hop songs ever made.
Right. Here's a better comp for One More Chance. California Love, but that's like Pac's 4th or 5th best record.
I think One More Chance wins that, but yeah, I mean, you could even do a Pac versus without California Love, to be perfectly honest. I mean, LP just mentioned Pain and stuff like that.
Pour out a little liquor.
Yeah, pour out a little liquor. You know what I mean? Like, or even if you do like an MC Breed, Gotta Get Mine or something like.
No, it's everywhere.
To me, I think I Get Around's more timeless than California Love to me.
Actually, I mean, truthfully, I think Ambitions as a Rider is really the song on that album that has really stayed up. Like, Mike, you know they play Ambitions as a Rider on the radio in Cali like it's a single, right?
I bet. I mean, I like living down in L.A. too.
That's what I'm saying. Where you want to go? Mike, me and my girlfriend.
I think that's a good segue. You seen that Kanye?
Yeah.
Seen that Kanye documentary? Anybody in the chat? Y'all seen that Kanye Genius documentary? It's up to episode 2 now. Mm-hmm. I have a theory. Since you're talking about Tupac's Me and My Girlfriend.
It's a lot of notes.
Whole lot of notes, I'm sure. I got a lot to say about this subject. But my theory is, you saw how Kanye just kept rapping that, Me and My Girlfriend. I believe that was his song. And Jay took it. Because I never understood the production credit he got on that, right? Because he didn't do anything different than what the Tupac song was. You know what I mean? Because I remember back in the day when the song came out and you checking the booklets and it said produced by Kanye West. And I always wondered, like, what did he do? Because we knew what Kanye's style was production-wise at that time, especially with him working with Jay and, on the Blueprint, the first one. And I was like, what did he do? And I think that was his song. And to justify taking it, he got production credit.
That's okay. So let's unpack that very, very quickly. That's a result of that shit that make your soul burn slow and you scrambling to put shit together.
I can agree with that. I mean, I think that the Blueprint 2 was a result of a lot of that.
That's where you can see how Ether directly impacted his whole habitat, his whole movement, his whole style, and all that. Because that's the first thing I thought too. I was like, and that's why Jay did that bullshit. Which, by the way, he shouldn't have done. It was awful.
Tabernet says Kendrick can't complete the verses. He said line up 10 K-Dot fans and their top 5 and all different. That's true. His albums To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn are all one big long song. That's interesting. All right.
Ooh, that's an interesting point. I'm going to do a Rock M primer. I'm going to pick 20 Rock M songs, and I'm going to pick 20 Method Man tracks, and I want people to like hear the difference.
I agree with you though, man. Back to that whole Blueprint too, and we'll do that, and we'll hear the difference. Yeah. I never liked that O2 Bonnie and Clyde. I never liked it. I never thought he should have done that, especially coming off of the Blueprint. And the momentum for the Blueprint 2, I mean, they had this momentum that, it was a double disc, which I hate double disc. For anybody who watches the show, they know that I hate double disc. So that, number 1, was a bad sign for me. Number 2, doing the sequel so quickly to the Blueprint. But I always thought, okay, this is like the second version of Volume 1, 2, whatever. Because he's done this before. So I wasn't that worried about it being a sequel. But when that Bonnie and Clyde O2 came out and Beyonce's on the hook and stuff, I'm like, what is this?
What is this?
Look for me. And then knowing the history with Jay and Pac too at the time, and it's like, what is this? And then Kanye produced, because it was billed as a Kanye production. I'm like, huh? But now this makes sense because I think this is something that Kanye did. Mm-hmm. And, like you said, they were reaching for songs. And similar to Tupac's double disc, because there's a lot of Tupac shout-outs in the Blueprint 2. I think there was an all-hands-on-deck thing. Like you said, Ether going on. People's songs are getting taken, just like when Pac came out of jail and it was an all-hands-on-deck thing in Death Row. He was getting some Dre songs. He was getting some songs that were supposed to be on Dogg Pound albums, some songs that were supposed to be on Snoop's next album, some songs that were supposed to be on Rage's album. And I think that was the mentality for the Blueprint 2. And for me, in the documentary where Kanye kept going around to everybody quoting this, I'm like, yeah, he took one of his songs. That's what this is.
Yeah. I mean, and actually, you want to know what it is? It's the first time of many that he did it. And that's really how Watch the Throne started happening, because Jay realized, oh, this is somebody that I can pull from. It starts right there.
Yes and no. The thing is, he could pull.
Artistically speaking,
he could pull from Kanye as long as Kanye allowed him to be pulled from. Because what Kanye would do, and I think this is a problem that Jay had with Kanye, Kanye didn't need him. Kanye was self-sustained in the sense where I can make music without you. I don't need you to go pick my producers. I make my own beats. I don't need you to jump on a verse. I don't need you to hook me up with this, and this artist. I already got relationships with artists. Mm-hmm. So I think that lack of dependency on Jay is one of the reasons why Jay really didn't fuck with Kanye. And anybody who saw that documentary sees that Jay didn't support anything that Kanye had going on. One of the things that was really jarring to me, and I know you got a lot of notes, and I want to make sure I cover a lot too, because I feel like when we talked about, episode 1, there was a lot of things I felt like I left out. But one of the things that stood out to me after the accident, and Kanye could have lost his life and, lost his voice and his ability to create music as an artist vocally, because we've seen this before with the DLC. Instead of them reaching out for support on that level, his budget gets stalled, and he can't spend money, can't use baseline or whatever. So he has to go out there and make his way on his own. And long story short, for the people who haven't seen that episode, he makes Through the Wire, raps it with his mouth wired shut. And that's not enough either. Has to go out there and make the video on his own, spend $33,000 and do like pretty much a viewing party for it to convince them to open his budget back up. Jay-Z doesn't even show up to that. Mm-mm. You can say whatever about Dame. Dame and Kareem showed up for that.
Hold on, so I want you to stop for a second. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you what was happening. When I saw Dame walk in the room, I was like, oh, the rift is already going on. The rift is going on between Rockefeller. It's going on because it's like, oh, Dame's coming to Kanye shit. But I was like, hold on. I'm like, but they just stopped bankrolling the project. What's Dame showing up for? Let me tell you why Dame's showing up. Because Dame's realizing that this is about to end. And so Dame is a businessman and a smart and astute one. And he's like, no. I want to know what everybody involved with Rockefeller is doing and has going on. This nigga Ye just helped produce the blueprint. We just cut his work off. He's still dropping his project. I need to check up on it. He respected the game and the hustle enough to check up on it. The other guy had lost that respect for the hustle. I saw the divide when I saw Dame show up.
How do you not, as an artist, and Jay knows what it's like to, for people to look over you, right? Yep. And not believe in your style and flow and voice and that you're different. How do you not support that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. And even if that was a chess move on Dame's end, should have been a business move on Jay's end as well, to be like, look, I'm not going to be the only one that didn't show up.
Well, that's what I'm saying about Dame's a businessman and an astute one. You have to understand, he's from Harlem. He's from Uptown. He's a hustler, Mike. So he's looking at the situation always. And so another thing that was like astounding to me about the situation that like occurred was like just watching how they were so into PD and like literally anybody who wasn't Kanye. It's almost like anybody but this guy. Mm-hmm. And so when you see him behaving the way that he is behaving, like in the future, it's like, well, it all kind of started right there with how they were treating him. It's like, because your environment breeds certain things in you psychologically. And I'm looking at this and it's like, well, we don't even know what guy we were really going to get because they never really treated him the way they were supposed to treat him anyway. Like the industry did something to him. People did something to him. And it's like, he's kind of making everybody suffer from it since then in a way. But it's like when you see it, it's like, well, I can't kind of knock it because it's like dude's kind of been very close to being a musical genius. He's been right more than he's been wrong. And when you hear him spitting these verses to the college dropout that are now epic, that are now classic.
And they're not even listening.
They're not even listening to him say these rhymes, Mike. They're not even listening to him say these rhymes. I'm going to say it again. He's spitting out the rhymes to the college dropout throughout, two episodes so far. Mm-hmm. And people are just looking at him like, okay. And then you got people.
You know what I think that's about, though? Go ahead.
No.
What I was going to say, and I want to get to some of the super chats. Shout out to Ray Realms. I appreciate the support, and we're gonna get to your super chats. But I think a lot of this is about how he was attempting to do it and how he wasn't approaching this in a way where he wanted to keep the status quo. I think that his positive spin on hip hop and his approach to it is why they weren't checking for it. They had ears, they heard his beats, they picked his beats. His beats made a 5 mic album for their flagship artist. His hooks were there. He's giving Jay hooks. And I don't care what Leroy Green says in the chat. He wrote Lucifer. He did. He gave you Encore. He gave you those records. So that part of it can't be in question. Your problem with Kanye West is the fact that he wasn't out here talking about killing nobody. He wasn't out here talking about slanging dope. And if he would have bent to the industry and talked about those things, they would have supported it. You can't sit here and tell me with a real ear, you hear Jesus Walks in its actual form and say, yo, we can't put that out. That's whack. Their problem wasn't with the music. Their problem wasn't with him. It was his approach. And he was going to put them out of business. And he did.
Oh, Mike, you saying that makes me need to go get a drink. Like, damn.
Let me get the Ray Realms super chat too, man. Y'all in the comment section blowing it up. We really appreciate it. Ray Realms says, Mike D and Coop, Benny signed Def Jam was a mistake. Was Benny signing the Def Jam a mistake? Conway fulfilled his contractual obligations and wants that Guinness bag.
No,
Should he go indie?
I want to answer all those questions, Ray, but I kind of just want to go back to something because that's very disturbing to me. Because while we've been talking about all this, and you know how I am, Mike, I'm just like a multitasker at all times.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing this Rakim list of songs, and I'm thinking about how positive these songs are as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about the fact that it's like, you know, like these songs are like positive songs, like In the Ghetto, Mahogany. Like, you're right, Mike. Like, they were worried about him putting them out of business.
Yeah.
And if you listen,
because what does that do for Petey Crack, right? If he comes with an album like The College Dropout, all y'all shit is non-existent.
Right, hold on. If The College Dropout sells 4 million units like it did, y'all are out of business. And here's the reality of the matter. Y'all were out of business after The College Dropout dropped. Everybody except for Jay and Beans was out of business. Jay
retired.
Hold on. No. Real talk. After The College Dropout, it's like of that crop of artists that wasn't Jay. Wasn't it just like seemed like Cam and Beans was the only one that was going to survive?
I mean, you know, again.
And even Beans with the legal trouble, you was like, well, damn Beans. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a two-parter to that. You know, it's like I feel like also you understand that if his focus is taken off of producing records for you and now producing records for himself, then you're losing a producer. So they thought, right? But again, when you see a non-biased ear in Pharrell hear these same exact songs and he's going crazy, and I don't think Pharrell was gassing for the DVD either. Pharrell heard a verse from that Me and My Girlfriend, and he heard Through the Wire. It sounded like a rougher version than we actually even heard. And he's like, I heard 2 songs, man, and you my favorite artist, dog. Like, he was really real about that. And you can't tell me that Pharrell's ears are so advanced that he's hearing things that these people who work at this record label can't hear. They refuse to hear it. They didn't want Kanye West to succeed.
No, they didn't. So I want to highlight 3 people who you can clearly hear his vision. And all of these people are brilliant musically in different ways. Most Def, Pharrell, Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx is another one. You're right.
And most Def's reactions, Pharrell's reactions, and Jamie Foxx's reactions make you realize how phony the rest of the motherfuckers are. Straight like that. Straight up like that.
Well, it was more of agenda. It was agenda.
So we're going to call it what it is, because when you have an agenda and you're trying to get something out of somebody to make you money, you're phony. They're phony. That whole Luda spot, I was like, yo, I'm like, that's not even Ludacris. That's Chris Lover, the radio DJ doing a radio spot. I was like,
Well, he said he was in the car writing a rap, but he didn't.
He wasn't in no car.
It wasn't no rap.
You didn't take this dude seriously. He was tied to Rockefeller and tied to Jay. You're a businessman. You're from Atlanta. This is coming at a time where you need to show that kind of face. You showed that face. You wrote that hook. You left. You did your little fake radio spot. All of y'all look fake compared to most Pharrell and Jamie Foxx. Did you hear Jamie? When you see how Jamie looks when Kanye is whispering the slow jams hook to him?
Yeah.
You can't even hear what's going on. And Jamie's like...
And then once it's put down, you see the real excitement. You know what I'm saying? You see... Even when Pharrell told Kanye, he was like, yo, man, you're going to make it. And when you do make it, make sure you keep the same intensity, man. Like, he was like, man, I got to get on my job.
And I want to talk about how smart Kanye is, because now that Kanye has made it and Kanye is blown up, who's he calling back in to sing? Because here's the thing. We didn't even know Gold Digger was that early. He's still getting pub for the college dropout while he's working on Gold Digger, but who he calling back in? Ye's a loyal guy.
Yeah.
You remember Jamie Foxx's response to Slow Jams? And he like, I need you to help me get this Ray thing off. And what Jamie do again? Jamie heard it. He started looking at him again like, oh, we going back at it again?
And this is right after Jamie was Ray. I mean, it's just genius how he was able to put all that together. And the fact that Slow Jams was recorded in Jamie Foxx's house. Like,
ridiculous.
You know, it's, first of all, it's sad that accident happened in the first place. But you know what? He got into that accident. He was out there doing work for Rockefeller. They sent him out there to work on P.D. Crack's project. That's one thing.
Stop for a second. So listen how that changed the trajectory of everything. He got into an accident while he was supposed to be working on his first project, but the label sent him out to work on on some other dude's project, and he's
that they put ahead of him.
And in his mind and in his heart, he's like, this dude wasn't even around when I was here, and y'all got me flying out to do beats for him to put him ahead of me. And I'm telling you what, I saw when Siegel made that comment, I was thinking, like, I don't even know if Ye even goes if Beans doesn't say that he's going. You peeped that part where he's like, we gonna fly Kanye out. It's like, I don't even know if Kanye was with it until Beans was like, no, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
As in Beans like I'm not actually want to orchestrate like this.
I didn't even peep that. I'm gonna go check that again.
Yeah. That part out where it's like Beans is like, I'm going too, because that's what I mean about how like the environment is. It's like when Beans said that, it was like Beans was faded, but he snapped back into it. It's like, why y'all taking Ye out to Cali to do PD shit? Like I'm head of state prop. Like, so you can just, it's a whole move right there. It's what Beans says on Feeling in the Air. 85% of communication nonverbal. I was looking at Beans nonverbal and I was like, oh, it's already itchy up in the room.
Listen, I'm seeing some things in the chat that I do want to address because it was a conversation like this in the barbershop today. People are saying that Kanye stayed with Jay. I think that's a little no. I think that's a little bit overblown because at the end of the day, Kanye was signed to Def Jam because Rockefeller had sold their shares to Def Jam, right? He was one album in, he had the College Dropout, and so Def Jam takes over. Rockefeller's imprint is still there, but the shares are gone. Jay-Z retires and takes a job as Def Jam's president. Kanye is still contractually obligated to Def Jam. I don't think he stayed with Jay-Z or chose Jay-Z. He was contractually obligated to Def Jam. Jay-Z chose to take that job at Def Jam probably because Kanye's success for the College Dropout. So if we want to really reframe these things, Jay-Z stayed with Kanye. Kanye was the one on the roster that was contractually obligated. He chose to take that job at Def Jam. The optics make it look like he stayed with Jay, but what was he going to do? Leave his contractual obligations that he couldn't do and go with Dame? Dame didn't have a label set up.
You know, Beans probably spoke about it most like just honestly. He's like, well, Jay the artist, so the artist going to go with Jay. That's what Siegel said. He's like they artists. He was like, Jay's an artist, so he knows how to think and get into the mind And he know how to touch and connect with the artist in a way that Dame don't, because he's a businessman. He's like, but he's an artist too. He's like, so the artist gonna go. Siegel's talking about this when The Becoming's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, nah, because I remember him talking. He's like, I wrote both of them a letter. He's like, y'all like, it's like a marriage ending. Y'all getting divorced. He's like, I'm y'all main kid. I don't know which way to go. He's like, but the rest of the kids is going with the artists because they're artists. He's like, and so he's like, so that's going to happen. So he was saying that's like, that's not even knock the Dame's business, and it's not a big up to Jay's business. It's just saying artists tend to flock. It's like birds of a feather. What? They flock together. They're artists. They're going to flock towards Jay naturally more than Dame, because Dame is straight businessman.
At the end of the day, though, if we're talking about, I mean, again, Kanye is just getting his flow going, and he just dropped his debut album. You're asking him to uproot and change everything? I mean, he was just keeping it consistent with the same staff. You hear artists all the time talk about what happens when a new regime comes in, right? Or what happens when they have to uproot and start at a whole new label. It's different. And just him as a creator, he's like, look, I'm going to keep this thing consistent. I don't think it's one of those things of him choosing Jay. Jay made it very easy because he stayed with the same machine that Kanye was already a part of. You know what I mean?
Convenient.
I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, he has his livelihood to, worry about.
I mean, when I say convenient, Jay has Def Jam associations before Kanye does. So it's like convenient, not totally like I don't want to say totally it's like, oh, well, Jay said stay because he had Kanye there. It's like, no, he had viable reasons to stay within his own rights.
The real Leonard Washington brings up a good point. He says, The Becoming came out on Dame's label, Mike, Dame Dash Music Group. Kanye was just contractually obligated to Def Jam, like you said. Exactly. Now, Dame did have that. And again, I don't know what people really expect, because what else came out under Dame Dash Music Group, and who were they distributed by?
Let's stop for a second again. Do you want to know what Beanie Siegel's best project is?
I love The Becoming.
You want to know why?
Because Jay didn't have to sign off on his beats.
There we go. I mean, hold on, Mike.
It just is what it is.
Hold on. No, I want to pull up the track listing because the beats on there.
Yeah.
It's the beats, Mike, because he's been rhyming like this. The Feel It in the Air beat, the One Shot Deal with Redman, the Bread and Butter with Grand Puba, the It's On with Jay-Z, the Wanted with Cameron. Mike, my favorite Beanie Siegel song. One of the few rap songs that makes me tear up. Look at Me Now.
Feel It in the Air was produced by Heavy D?
Was it? I thought it was somebody else.
Well, somebody in the chat said that.
No. That's not right. That might be Just Blaze.
LP says that was it, Mike. It was only that album. So that was the only album that came out on Dame Dash Music Group. My question is why? And so with that being said, and with no distribution in place, sounds like it might be a situation where distribution was lost. I don't know if that has anything to do with Universal, but are we expecting Kanye West to go into a situation with no distribution, or stay right there where he's already contractually obligated? You know what I'm saying? So I think that the narrative is say that he chose Jay over Dame, I think is a little bit inaccurate. You know what I mean?
I thought that was a co-production credit. They're right. Heavy D produced Feeling in the Air.
That's dope.
That's his best track to me.
That's even more haunting. Rest in peace to Heavy D.
Yeah, it is. Mike, Feeling in the Air was the best rap song that year. I don't care what anybody says. Feel It in the Air and Look at Me Now were the two best rap songs I heard that year. It came off the same album. They got special.
Okay.
Bink is on One Shot Deal. Neptunes and Snoop are on Don't Stop. DJ Scratch on Purple. Just Blaze on Bread and Butter with Grand Puba. That's Just Blaze right there. He got Bula. He got Buck Wild. They'll Look at Me Now. Buck Wild produced Look at Me Now. Buck Wild's the same guy that produced Whoa. He got D-Dot on Its Own from Puffy's Hitman. This is what I'm saying. Like this was the album.
This was the album that he was always supposed to make.
This was all the albums supposed to sound like The Becoming. You're damn right.
Yeah. All right. So this is what I do want to talk about too, man. One thing that stood out to me was him recording. Okay, it's two things. Him and Jay recording, right? Did you notice that when he was recording the bounce from the Blueprint 2, it was just some weird beat. It wasn't the bounce beat that was actually on the album.
Okay, so I wasn't tripping. I thought because I watched it late and I thought I was tripping.
No. And see, when I watched it for the first time, I was thinking, okay, it might be a publishing thing or whatever. This didn't get cleared for the documentary. But then when they went to D-Ray on stage, he played the song, so it wasn't that. So you had so you had Kanye rhyme to some bogus ass beat. And you got to actually hear the real beat when you rhymed?
Oh, hold
on.
Come
on, man.
I was putting all that together when Mike, it was late when I watched it. Because it was like it's like an hour and a half long, right?
Come on, man.
I put that thing on at like 11:45 last week.
He had him rhyme to some bogus beat, man. Because that wasn't Timbaland. Because Timbaland produced The Bounce. Or whatever that beat was. I don't know what that shit was. But he had him rhyme to some bogus beat. And then when the song came, it actually was what it was. Okay, that was one thing. And the other part, and I've always said this, talking about contributions and actually being there for the artist and being a part of the project, Never Let Me Down was clearly recorded during the time frame where his budget was frozen. And all of those elements were there. That's one thing. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Jay-Z's verses on that song come from the Hovey Baby remix.
Yes.
So they're recycled verses. I don't even know if he went in there and re-recorded them for this. I mean, it might be some copied and paste type shit. Which is unfortunate because as epic as the College Dropout is and as important as it is to the culture, Jay didn't go in there and actually be a part of that process and a part of that project being made. He just sent them verses. And, it feels like, okay, number one, College Dropout, you sent in recycled verses. Late Registration, you jumped on Diamond's remix and used that as an opportunity to get at Dame. Graduation, not there, right? Obviously, 808s and Heartbreaks is on some other shit. Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, the Monster versus Trash, right? And and I'm So Appalled. I think that's the only real contribution that I can say to a Kanye album that Jay has ever given. But I think a lot of that's because of who was on the record.
No. Even for whatever you want to feel about the Never Let Me Down verse being what it is.
Dope verses.
It was still important. Mostly about the end. Hope, a living legend, and hope is still alive.
But those are recycled verses.
No, it is, but it was important.
And we know how Jay works, right? Jay works like a machine.
But it was important.
For him to give recycled verses, you didn't even try.
Well, hold on. That's what I was really about to get to. So, one thing that's always been said about his counterpart, Nas, is that, Nas done recycled a lot of verses. He done spit shit here and then spit it out over there. And I used to always say, it's like, well, that's just because he done written so much shit, and quite frankly, he don't give a shit about your shit. And this is evidence to it on the other side. Jay didn't care about Ye.
When has Jay ever recycled verses? Chris King says Monsterverse wasn't trash.
Yes, it is.
Serious? Like Darnell Lee said, man, we have to admit when people spit in some mid verses, man. Ghosts, goblins, come on, man.
The Monsterverse is trash, but you want to know what? The So Appalled verse is great.
It is.
Just Pusha T's verse.
It is.
But it's great. The So Appalled verse is great. I'm so appalled. I might bought a mall just to show y'all how much more I have in store.
I mean, the Dark Knight line, everything, man. It's dope.
Dark Knight villain, die to be a hero, live long enough to see yourself become a villain. I went from the favorite to the most hated. But would you rather be overpaid or underrated?
More victories is for minor league coaches.
And Ye already told you we made you cockroaches.
You remember when Kanye said,
Testarosis.
I forgot what interview it was, but somebody asked him about, Nas being on We Made You. He's like, oh yeah, that's Jay-Z's favorite song.
Great.
I love Kanye, man. Like,
hold on. First of all, one of the great moments in rap history, low key, is the fact that Diamonds of Sierra Leone is track number 13 on Late Registration, and track number 14 is We Major. Who got Jay and Nas back to back?
I'm going to say this, and I know this might be an unpopular opinion, and this is no knock on Jay's verse, because I think that Jay's verse on Diamonds is dope. I like the regular Diamonds better than the remix.
Well, We Major is better than both of them anyway, so it really don't matter.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Oh, We Major is better.
We Major is better than the Diamonds remix, but I don't know about the regular one. Close your eyes and imagine. Feel the magic. Vegas on acid seen through East St. Laurent glasses.
That's not even a Nas thing. That's the totality of the record. That's Ye. That's really cool on the hook.
No, I agree.
Better than some head on a Sunday afternoon. Better than a chick to say yes too soon. Until you have a daughter, that's what I call karma. And you pray to God she don't grow breasts too soon. My daughter turned 15 last week, nigga. Right.
Gang signs throwed up. Yo, man, he took it there.
That's how we growed up. YLC thinks Shorty write rhymes just to blow up. Get their first car and then IRS show up.
He ain't even had shit, but he had that shine. Yo, another part that was interesting to me too was the Jesus Walks part. As far as the visuals, when he was telling his guys, he was like, yo, man, you know, I love y'all and all, but, you know, I got to get hyped to do this video. And his man, Kuda, told him, he was like, yeah, you probably ain't even going to like the video, and you're going to come back and ask me to do the video. And it's so funny. I always have liked that third version of Jesus Walks more. And when I look at it now, it all makes sense because that version looks like two words visually. It looks like Through the Wire visually. It goes visually with what's going on that album. And it's something to be said. It's so hip-hop when you talk about self-contained projects when it comes from the artwork to the production. And when somebody outside comes in like Hype, and Hype's great, but it just doesn't mix with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It looks so out of place. Yeah. And conceptually, and the people who were there understand what's going on more than somebody coming in from the outside. And obviously, you know, Hype will have his own understanding, but I think Kuda's understanding of Jesus Walks is a little different. And I think he nailed it with the whole concept of Kanye walking around and continuously getting blessings from Jesus right in front of his face and just ignoring him. I always thought that video was brilliant. And it all makes sense now how it came about. So I really took that from episode 2. What were some of your takeaways from episode 2? I know you got a lot of notes.
I mean, we've actually covered a lot of them already. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's like I'm going through them. We hit like a lot of like the core stuff. I mean, the only thing I think we're missing is the fact that I think we're seeing how important Miss Donda West is to his rallying and support system. The support system is Donda because, and I'm going to say this again, I want people to understand what's going on. This guy, while all of this is going on, is easily one of the 10 best producers in hip-hop at the time.
Yeah, straight up.
And is one of the 5 hottest producers in hip-hop at the time all this is going on. And people are treating him terribly with the exception of Mos Def, Pharrell, and Jamie Foxx. I want all of you guys who deify these rappers to take note of what is going on in this documentary because it is my biggest takeaway. That's why it's like when I be up here and I be acting like a certain way, it's like, no, I done been around these rap dudes before. I done spent my life around these dudes. I done had run-ins with rap dudes. I got rap dudes that don't like me. Like, I don't care. Like, I know how you dudes really be. Like, when you be out in public, and this is the real evidence to the arrogant rap behavior by these dudes that like really think that they are God because they rap. And that's why I be up here. It's like, that's why I be up here sometimes. It's like, you niggas didn't even make Thriller or Purple Rain. Go like sit your ass down somewhere.
You know,
like,
it's interesting because
this is the proof. Like how Kanye is getting treated while he is making classic material for artists is the proof of how extremely arrogant these rappers are.
And he's making classic material himself. And if you can't hear that going on, You on some hating shit or something. There's no other
Right,
way.
they're
There's no
haters.
other way
I want
to
people to
even describe
understand
this. Like, you can't sit there and be a person who makes music, heard music, sees music, see the way people react to music, and hear these songs and sit here act like it's nothing. You hating at this point.
The biggest trick that rappers, hold on, Mike, listen to this. The biggest trick that rappers pull off, and this is why I love Tupac, they make it seem like that they're not emotional when they're the most emotional motherfuckers in the room, like every other artist, and they try to play this hard card like they don't hear it or they don't feel it. And that's why I love Pac, because Pac was honest about his emotions. Ye is honest about his emotions. You got all these dudes, Ye is pulling up singing the verses to All Falls Down, Jesus Walks, and these dudes are acting like it's nothing because you want to know what that's that cool pose. That's that tough guy shit. But it's like, no, you dudes are emotional. You're artists. And y'all denied this man. And so it's like his arrogance that's on 10. It's like, well, they put his arrogance on 10 with I realize why his arrogance has been on 10 now. It's like, oh, y'all put his arrogance on 10.
If he didn't have that level of confidence and arrogance, he wouldn't have made it through the door.
Crushed his confidence.
Period. Yeah.
Like, do you know how many people, based on the footage that we've seen, would have been totally crushed by this?
Exactly.
By the weight of it.
And it's interesting, man, because this is in an era before, mobile cameras and, you know what I'm saying, and us being able to capture every moment. So a lot of this stuff, I don't think these artists ever thought was going to see the light of the day. You know what I mean? Like, most people didn't even understand the concept of cameras being around. They're like, oh, you're not doing this for MTV? Oh, this your man? Ain't nobody going to see this shit. So they didn't care. You know what I mean? Like,
no. Listen to this, though. This is what I mean about the arrogance. They didn't think that he was going to be big enough
for anybody to see
anywhere.
Yeah.
But let me tell you how quick the legend of it grew. And here's how I knew that it had became something and he had became something. By the time Game and Puffer in that studio playing that crack music beat, which has a whole nother set of verses, which means Puff was about to use that for something. Because they had bad boy shit on there.
I heard that too.
Right. Do you see how Puff is in that camera and how he grabbed that camera from his man? Because Puff's different than these guys. Puff's a visionary. And when that dude pulled up with that camera, Puff had probably already heard a couple stories. And then he's looking at where Ye was and where Ye had been. And he was like, nah, nigga, give me that camera. I'm going to be represented right on this part of history. Puff always
again.
Whatever you want to say about Puff, he gets it.
He does.
He gets it. He grabbed that camera. You see him in the camera? He like, yeah, nah, you're going to get me right up on this.
Puff is always where he needs to be. Leroy Green says, Jamie Foxx, John Legend, Common, Mos Def, Ron Fest, Consequence, Pharrell, Luda, Jay-Z, Talib. I don't know what that's a response to, but listen, speaking of John Stevens, man, talk about humble beginnings. And shout out to him and where he's been able to take his career.
Yes.
I was told that Kanye gave him the name John Legend.
I heard that too. I heard that when John Legend first came out.
Listen, man, we got to cut the shit. There's no way in the world you could ever front on this man. Because he's another person that was there for all of this stuff that we're seeing right now. He's heard the stories. He's heard more stories. He lived it.
No. Forget all that. Do you see how bummy he looking playing Ordinary People on that piano back then?
Man, believed in you, man. You could never front on this man.
No. Remember where the millions of dollars came from. Remember, like, you see how he looked?
Kanye's a good dude.
You're looking scruffy.
Kanye is a good dude.
No, I'm going to tell you just like this. Like, his wife right now, oh, no. She wasn't fucking with that version of you, fam. You got life fucked up.
Listen, man, I got to give Kanye credit. He's a good dude, and I'm glad he's letting the footage speak.
Dusty playing Ordinary People. She was not pulling up on you like that, fam. You wasn't pulling nothing like that when you look like that. That's why I be talking about these dudes where they be forgetting where they come from. Like with this Andre thing where it's like, no. You got the commercial off rap, fam. They be real brand new. They be dating all these famous people. They get their millions of dollars. They get these big homes. They get these tours and all this, and they forget. No. You was that dusty ass nigga playing the piano for Kanye. That's who you were. I remember who you were, dude.
Kanye gave him a great opportunity. He seized the opportunity. And not to mention, the opportunity is one thing, right? The opportunity is one thing, but he actually produced for you as well and produced your best work, in my humble opinion. Like, I'm not really into the stuff that John Legend makes now, but that first and second album, especially the second one. Once again, it's my shit. That's one of my favorite R&B albums of that era.
Oh yes.
And Kanye did his thing, directional wise, on that, and Heaven Only Knows is beautiful. Just on those things alone, not only did he give you the platform, he actually put in the work after he gave you the platform. And I don't even want to get on Common, but you know, it is what it is. We know what B did for Common's career, and I know Common was a legend in hip hop before that. But what B did for Kanye, legendary. Well, you know, for Chicago,
he's a Chicago legend.
He's Chicago legend before that, right? Yeah, but what B did for Common's career, he is still eating off of that.
No, he's a hip hop legend because of B. He's a Chicago legend before B. He is respected because before B. He's a hip hop legend after B. Difference. John Legend. Let's Get Lifted is the only John Legend album that I've ever bought because it was the only album that was worth buying.
Yes, John Legend has talent. Leroy says John Legend got talent, Coop. Come on. Yes, he has talent. But having talent and being able to make great music are two different things. And you can hear the difference of the music that John Legend made with Kanye West and the stuff he made without Kanye West. There's a stark difference.
I mean, talent is a fleeting thing. You remember O.J. Mayo, the basketball player?
I remember him.
Yeah, he's very talented. Could have been the next Dwayne Wade. That yayo though. Okay, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit.
The real Leroy Leonard Washington, says Kanye resurrected Common with B. He did. And I'm a person that loved Electric Circus. I actually like Electric Circus. Most of y'all don't.
Stop saying that.
But when B happened, the timing of B. This is coming after College Dropout and coming while Late Registration is bubbling. And Kanye has production all over the place. This is after the Foods performance on the Chappelle show. The buzz was crazy, and then he came with the corners. No, man. This was a different moment in Common's career. And I followed Common since 94. You know what I'm saying? I got on him with Resurrection, not on Can I Borrow a Dollar. But this was a buzz he's never had.
Well, let's go to Resurrection of Common, pun intended. The Resurrection of Common starts on the College Dropout with his verse on
It does. It does. Get Him High had people talking.
No, Mike. I'm one of the people that have been a fan of his from the jump.
Yeah.
That jumped off and did not jump back on. I can remember going to Six, my cousin, while we were in the studio and playing Get Him High for him. And I was like, he's back.
Yep.
And
that's what a lot of people were saying.
I said, and look at what Cuz told me. This is the producer engineer in him. He said the MC in him is back. He said, but the delivery and flow isn't all the way back. Let's wait. And then the food came out. And I was like, Cuz. He was like, yeah, he's back. I was like, okay, and we got beat.
I think I just seen in the comment section, Leroy Green talking about Kanye had writing help. Who y'all think wrote the hook for the food? I walked in the crib, got 2 kids, and my baby mama late. Oh no. Who wrote? I mean, y'all have heard Common's music over the years, and y'all have heard Kanye's music. Who does that sound like to you? Did y'all see the actual footage of him handing Jamie Foxx the slow jam hook?
Did you hear?
And I know a lot of people want to talk about, who helps who writing. Are y'all gonna give Kanye credit for the shit that he's written for people?
I'm about to say, have you heard B? He helped put B together.
Period.
All the way.
Period.
All the way. Mike, the corner. The corner's the buy-in. You don't got to go to the food, Mike. He's literally spinning the hook to the corner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen to the hook for the corner. You think Common wrote that or you think Kanye wrote that? We want to talk about help.
Hold on. Mike, even when you're hearing the samples on the album, like Testify, it's like, no, it's Kanye. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Matter of fact, you want to know some real shit? Here's how great Dilla is. Dilla is so great that you can hear when it's Dilla on the album, just because it's like, oh, well, that's more of a hip hop beat, so that's not Ye. He must have called Dilla. As soon as they say come in, you're like, oh, that's Dilla. Okay.
Was that Dilla? I thought they say was Kanye. I thought Dilla was.
Your World is Dilla for sure. That's straight.
No, It's Your World is Dilla.
Yeah,
I think the people.
Did they say Dilla?
Huh?
They Say sounds like Dilla to me.
I think They Say is Kanye, I believe.
No? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we can look that up. I think Dilla did 3 on there. Correct us in the chat if you can. But yeah, I mean, what Kanye's been able to do in situations like that, and you look at Daytona, and you look at his individual career, shit is amazing, man. It's amazing. We got to give this person props. Yeah. Jordan House says They Say it's Kanye. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, let's see. Let me pull up the track list real quick. I know we're...
I'm already there. Yeah.
Well, what all did Dilla do?
Love Is.
That's what I was thinking about.
Love
Is, and obviously the last song, It's Your World. And was it Real People?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, it's those 3.
Hold on. No. That's Kanye. Real
Is
People's
it?
Yeah, Real People's yeah. That's
Really?
actually the one that I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about They Say. I was thinking about Real People because I thought that was Dilla too. So Dilla only did 2 joints.
Really? Okay, well, Dilla had passed at that point. So, Kanye was picking what was actually going to fit in the scheme of what they were doing, I would imagine. But
he did the same thing on Finding Forever with So Far to Go with Bilal, which was the second version because I actually like the original version that Common and Dilla did with the original verses. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about. Well, Common said he wants to do another album with Kanye. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, look, I understand why, dude. I mean, your best album by far. And you know what? To me, and this ain't no disrespect, I think over time, I know back in the day we used to say Resurrection was Common's best album, but I think over time, like Water for Chocolate has kind of taken that second place to B. But B, in my opinion, as a Common fan, is by far his best album. It's not even a conversation.
I mean, can we have this conversation right quick about Resurrection?
Sure.
Resurrection for its time is a dope project and one that deserves notability, like in recognition. Obviously, I Used to Love Her is the classic and the seminal record on there. My favorite track on there was Watermelon.
Yeah, I like Watermelon too.
Yeah, but I mean, Mike, let's just be honest. Can it One Day It'll All Make Sense? Like Water for Chocolate and B are all superior projects. They just are. Here are your points. That includes One Day It'll All Make Sense. One Day It'll All Make Sense is better than Resurrection.
One Day It'll All Make Sense is actually a really, really dope album.
It is a really dope album. It's probably his most slept on project because that's the project that made me a fan. I'm not a big fan of Can I Borrow a Dollar? I like moments on Resurrection, even though I hear the MC in him. One Day It All Makes Sense is when I hear a guy that can be all-time great MC.
I think One Day It All Makes Sense, not having that I Used to Love Her on it kind of holds it back. But I agree with you. It's a better album pound for pound. I'm just telling you why I think people hold Resurrection so high.
I get that. But the first 2 tracks on One Day It All Makes Sense, Invocation and Real Nigga Quotes, is better than everything on Resurrection except for Watermelon and I Used to Love Her to me. You feel what I'm saying?
Black America Again was really good. I will give him credit on that. That was a really good album.
Is that the one with Red Wine on there?
Black America Again, Red Wine. Was Red Wine on there? Because the first one that...
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep, no, that's Black America Again. Yep. No, that album's dope. Yep,
I like Finding Forever too. And
I'm not a big fan of Finding Forever.
You know, I like The Dream of the Believer too. You know,
I don't like The Believer. I love Finding Forever. So it's like if I was ranking his albums, I would go B, Like Water for Chocolate.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Finding Forever.
Okay.
One Day It All Makes Sense. And then I'm gonna go Resurrection. Probably. The Resurrection is gonna be his 5th best album at this point to me.
Huh.
Yeah.
Where's Black America Again fit? Because I think Black America
actually Black America Again might be better than Resurrection.
I think it might be.
I Used to Love Her. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen.
Actually.
Because Black America Again had Home on it. Home was crazy. Red Wine was crazy. Yeah.
Red Wine was crazy. No. He had joints on there. Nobody Smiling wasn't that dope.
I think Nobody Smiling is towards the bottom for him.
Me too. So Resurrection would probably be 6 for me too, Mike. So that was an album that was considered, I remember The Source did a poll. It was considered to be like one of the top 5 most slept on albums of all time. But I don't think it's slept on anymore. I think all of it slept on ended up being rated and he ended up making better material. B and Like Water for Chocolate are like clearly superior. And so is Finding Forever. Those 3 projects are like blowing Resurrection out the water. One Day It'll All Make Sense has more highlights to me.
Ray Realm with the super chat, he said Common is top 10 MC all time. When you get a chance, check out my previous super chat. You don't look. Remind us what the super chat was. You remember what the super chat was? It was something about Biggie, I believe.
Are we talking about Big?
Ray Realm was saying something. It was about a time. Remind us what the previous super chat was. You don't have to send another super chat for that one, but yeah, re-ask the question and we'll get to it. Before we get out of here, man, let's talk about that KRS-One album.
It's great. He's great.
I think the only thing that I have a critique of is some of the production on it, but as far as him rhyming, jeez.
I mean, I saw somebody in our comments is like, he sounds better than Nas does on Magic. Not true, but I get what you're saying, because close enough. How about this? KRS is one of those few people that when he gets in his zone, and he is in his zone on this album, let's not get it twisted. When he gets in his zone, he raps in a manner that makes you feel like that might be the greatest MC who ever lived, and that's why he always belongs in the conversation.
The way he keeps his voice, the way he's able to continue and keep his flow, it's insane.
It's insane the way his voice is held up now, in all truthfulness. Like, he sounds just as heavy and hard hitting as he did when he came out with Return of the Boom Bap vocally. That's crazy.
And LL doesn't even sound like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I say that respectfully because I think LL has one of the more underrated rap voices ever. And when you look at how his voice is held up over the years and as much performing as he does, but again, that's that practice, man. And that you have to be out here. And KRS has always been out here.
Hold on. Now let's get this straight now. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We talk about Rakim taking a break. We talk about Nas taking a break. We talk about Kendrick taking a break. We talking about all these breaks. You want to know who always been outside?
KRS-One.
This dude KRS-One been outside the entirety of the time.
Blastmaster.
And so for people who want to say, oh, he's still number one, or whenever he wants to say, I'm still number one, it's like, well, you're not my guy, but goddamn it, you belong every single time. And that's what I'm talking about. He's always been outside. How about this?
Listen, I'm not going to argue anybody that says that KRS is the best.
He's never even put himself in position to be critiqued the way that we've critiqued Kendrick and Andre 3000. How about that?
Straight up.
And if we want to talk lyrical skills, he's superior to both of them. He's lyrically 100. Superior to Andre and Kendrick. What you talking? And he been outside since 85.
I love Andre, man, but
been outside since 85. Mike, what year were you born?
82. Yo, I love Andre, but it's so unfair to the work that KRS-One has put in to even compare the two. You know, today is the 30th anniversary of Sex and Violence, the final BDP album. He's been solo officially for 30 years. And that's not even counting the BDP stuff where he was the only person rhyming on. And really, technically, that shit is solo material, but it's technically under a group, right?
Tyler Rock's the producer. He's the MC.
Yeah.
Heather B is on the last joint, if I'm not mistaken. The one Sex
and Violence is dope.
Sex and Violence. Isn't Heather B on there rapping something else? She's on a couple tracks, I feel like.
Is she? Okay.
I think so. I haven't listened to Sex and Violence in forever. I'm not even going to lie.
Sex and Violence got 4.5 in the source.
Deservedly so.
Yeah. But yeah, final BDP album, 30 years today, and this guy is still rhyming at a high level. I mean, he was spitting, man. Like his ability to stay current with the flow and be on top of things.
Yeah.
Listen, in my personal opinion, KRS isn't the greatest MC all time, but he's easily top 5, top 10 on anybody's list. But if somebody were to say he's the greatest, I'm not going to argue he's not.
I mean,
I'm not putting Biggie ahead of KRS. I can't do it.
So here's the thing about it. All the guys who you would put ahead of him, of the guys that I would put ahead of him, there's only 2 guys that I think are lyrically better than him that I have ahead of him, and that's Nas and Rakim. Anybody else that I think is ahead of him has more to do with their song making ability, i.e., a Biggie or a Tupac or a Scarface. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Not about lyrical capability.
Nope.
Nas and Rakim are the only guys that I think for certain are lyrically better than him, and I don't even know that. Like, even when I say that, I'm saying that out loud, and it's like, oh, I don't know that. I don't know that.
I mean, when you look at the Channel Live shit, like it's.
You know the 10-12. You know the 10 and 12 bar rhyme style is KRS-One's invention. Like 16 bars wasn't even like all the way like invented when he started rhyming. He's the inventor of the 10 and the 12 bar rhyme style.
People are saying Biggie's better. I see KRS isn't top 10.
Biggie's a better artist overall. Biggie has probably a better like catalog that you can play a song. But that's what I'm saying. When you hear KRS-One, I'm like, I'm still number one. My Philosophy, 9mm goes bang. Jack of Spades, The Bridge is Over, Sound of the Police, MCs act like they don't know. Oh yeah, rappers are in danger. You see how many eras I'm going through?
Listen, anybody who has these doubts about KRS, I don't think you've seen KRS live. I don't fault you for that, but go see KRS live even now, or go look up some concerts with KRS. It's different, man.
No, he's one of those guys when Kendrick disappears like this, and I'm making a top 10 list, and I have KRS at 9 and Kendrick at 10. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that make me be like, no, you don't belong next to him. He's been outside since '85.
No, I mean, listen, I'm putting, and I know people will probably feel a way about this. I'm putting LL Cool J above Kendrick.
Yep.
I'm putting KRS-One above Kendrick.
I am.
I'm putting Rakim above Kendrick.
Not a question.
I'm still putting Tupac above Kendrick.
That is not a question.
I'm putting Jay above Kendrick. I'm putting Nas above Kendrick.
You putting Big above Kendrick? I know you're funny about catalog. I got Big above Kendrick. There ain't no way around it.
I don't know.
I got Face.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to hold that.
What about Face and Ice Cube?
I got Face and Ice Cube above Kendrick. Yes.
What about Ghostface?
I have Ghostface above Kendrick, yes.
What about Jadakiss?
I do. I do. But you know what? Here's another one, and we talked about this earlier in the show. I think another Kendrick fan's unsubscribing. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's cool. Y'all can go.
Have to be honest here.
I
think Method Man.
Say that 90. I told you that 94 to 98 runs making
it's hard for me to sit here and say that Kendrick's better than Method Man.
Do you understand? Not one Kendrick fan popped up with his track listing from the last 5 years, except for a Black Panther soundtrack, which is kind of giving us the fact, giving us the evidence that there is no evidence.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm with you on Method Man. I'm just running down some people off the top of my head so people see what it is. So what say you about Big Daddy Kane?
I think I would have to put Kendrick above Kane. I know people are probably going to kill me in the chat for it.
Cool G Rap?
I would probably have to over Cool G Rap.
You got LL above him, right? What about Slick Rick?
I mean, I'm big on catalog, man. It's hard to justify, but I know I like Slick Rick more than I like Kendrick, but I would have to put Kendrick above.
Okay, Redman.
Redman. It's tough for me, man.
So it's looking like
you know what? I got to be consistent. If I'm putting Method Man over him, I think I am because Redman's catalog is even better than Method
Man, and he has out-rapped Method Man multiple times while Method Man.
Redman's catalog as an individual is better than Method Man's catalog.
And he has out-rapped Method Man multiple times while Method Man was in his prime.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Redman's better than Kendrick. And Kendrick's going to have to come with another album to debunk that.
So listen to what I have right now. I have Nas, Rakim, Tupac. I got Big. I don't care what you say. Jay-Z, Face, Ghostface, Jadakiss, Method Man, LL Cool J, Redman, Ice Cube, all ahead of Kendrick. So just off that right there, he would be 13.
Somebody said another name that I was like, yeah. What about Pusha T?
If you want to put Kendrick ahead of Pusha T, I'm not going to knock that.
Okay.
Objectively speaking. Not about what I prefer, but objectively speaking, if you're going to tell me that, I'm going to be okay with that.
Listen, and I'm putting Snoop Dogg over Kendrick. I'm sorry.
All right. So Snoop. So Mike, I want you to understand that right now he would be 14 right now.
And that's without us really even thinking about this thing.
That's without us digging. That's without us digging. And that's with Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, and Slick Rick being behind him.
You know what? That's what we need to do in our next couple of episodes. We need to really get this chart together.
We need to get the chart together.
And we need to be able to quantify this. And what categories do you think are important? And what categories do you guys in the chat think we need to consider when it comes to picking the greatest MC of all time?
1, lyrics. 2, voice.
Lamont Martin says The Game over Kendrick. I'm okay with that.
3, delivery. Hold on. Keep in mind, we got Kendrick at 14 right now. We have not discussed, listen to this, T.I., Lil Wayne, or Rick Ross.
Yeah.
T.I., Lil Wayne, or Rick Ross.
Yeah.
We haven't discussed any of those guys.
Listen, man, I'm going to keep it all the way 100. I think The Game, T.I., and Lil Wayne.
Right.
And, Rick Ross, man.
Ross' catalog is better than Kendrick's catalog. Why everybody keep talking about Kendrick's catalog?
Yeah. Those 4 guys, Kendrick would not beat in the verses.
Right.
Is that fair to say for the people out there who think we bugging? So those 4 guys, Kendrick wouldn't beat in the verses.
Those guys in right there, he would be at 18 right now. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. About why it's not cool to take 5 years off when you're not Rakim. When you're not Rakim on the mic, you don't get to take 5 years off.
Somebody in the chat says Chuck D. Listen, I ain't putting nobody over Chuck D. In my opinion.
In my mind, I don't even feel comfortable.
Listen, man, I don't even like putting Chuck D in debates. We do like these debates on the Court of the Hip Hop. I leave Chuck D's name out of it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say Kendrick's better than Chuck D. I won't say that.
Hold on. If you want to leave Chuck D out, I'll leave Big out, and we still got this guy at 16 if we leave Chuck and Big out.
Chuck D's made some of the most important hip hop records ever made.
We got lyrics, voice, delivery, storytelling, impact, catalog. Those are six topics. What do you say to those?
People are in the chat. Let me go to the people. The people are saying lyrics, voice, catalog, personal discography, and collaboration songs.
Collaborations, yes. I like
making/songwriting ability, longevity, impact. That's from Jordan House.
Longevity and impact are 2 different things because Big's impact is hard, but the longevity's not there.
But you know what? What about the longevity of the records? Because the longevity of Big's records are there.
That's some strong shit you just said, Mike.
You know what I'm saying? Because anybody could be in the game forever, but how well do your records age? I think that's what really is important.
Mike, I think we just got longevity career and longevity records, 2 different conversations about the same word.
Yeah. We got lyric, appearance, delivery, popularity, numbers. No, I don't know about the popularity.
Popularity and numbers is part of your impact.
Mm-hmm. Breath control should be a factor. MCs that have punchlines and
punchlines should not be a factor.
Okay.
No, because Fabulous is going to end up being in our top 10 if that happens.
Leroy Green says the fact that you're using Kendrick as a measuring stick, all-time greats, is a W for him. Listen, Kendrick has earned it. Anytime that you dropped Overly Dedicated, Section 80, To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City, and Damn, you're in these conversations. No, the only thing is, has he maintained these conversations?
Right. There we go.
The problem is, the problem's not his output and what he's done. The problem is when the game caught up and people are consistently making really good music, we don't hear anything. And, and I know somebody was talking about the pandemic was in 2020. Listen, the person that Kendrick is an artist, and the fact that All Right is his flagship song, all the shit that has gone down in 2020 between, we know the corona, whatever. I only like saying it because they shut people's channel down. Between that, between the election, between social justice and you have nothing to say.
And hold on. And here's what the people defending him say. He's been caught up in a legal battle with his label.
Is it a legal battle?
Hold on. You want to know what the Locks did when they were in a battle with their label? They said, we about to hit these streets, and kept dropping shit anyway. But anyway.
All
right.
What is the legal battle? You think they don't want him to put out music? Put out music and you out, right?
He's such a cash cow that truthfully, he should have been put out, lost tapes, such types of stuff to get out of this and really get back to his craft. But like I said, we're not going to spend time talking about that bullshit that we know really hadn't been occurring.
All right, I was going to say, these are factors that we don't know, because at the end of the day, both sides have said that this is his last album with TDE.
No, Mike. I like where we're going with this, so I don't even want to focus on Kendrick anymore. We got lyrics, voice, delivery, storytelling, impact, catalog, collaborations, longevity with your career, longevity with your records, breath control. That would give us 10 categories right there. I think we need 5 more.
Whoa, that's
categories. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Mike 100. He said you guys should do a Blueprint versus Stillmatic, 10 best songs per album. See what album stacks up. That should be.
Mike doesn't want to do 10 songs. If you want to do a versus, that's not fair to the Blueprint to do 10 songs. You need to do the whole thing for the Blueprint to have a shot. Because if you pick the 10 best songs on Stillmatic, the Blueprint's not winning.
Yeah, why are we picking the 10 best songs? Why don't we just go the whole album?
Because he's a Nas fan that knows that the 10 best songs on Stillmatic is going I'm gonna be objective for the Nas fans from now on. If we're gonna do Stillmatic in the Blueprint, we got to do the full players. Because I've always told people this: the first 10 songs on Stillmatic are his best stretch of songs since the first 9 songs on Illmatic in terms of what you hear in a row on an album. So.
I see someone said beef. I think battle tested is
battle rhyme, battle tested, all of that. Yep.
Yeah.
We can put that in one. Battle rhyme, battle tested. That can be 11.
What about mixtapes? Do those matter?
If Nas's lost tapes matter, that's not fair to KRS and
that's
Rakim.
Not, yeah.
And LL.
But there has to be something that mattered in that era that can equivocate to mixtapes or something. We'll think about that.
No, that's why I'm saying paid in full and by any means necessary is when the MC gets up and starts running. It's not fair to those guys. They got us running. It's like we were literally like walking and then they started running one day, like in a year's time. So it's like it happened fast.
Man, we like 2.5 hours in, man. We might need to go ahead and start wrapping this up. And
No, we're trying to wrap it up with this list. That's why I want people to give us
legacy. I see legacy.
Yes. Legacy.
Yes. Freestyle ability.
Yes. I'm with freestyle ability.
I'm with freestyle ability.
Harris once said you got to have the ability to freestyle. He said that on Arsenio Hall.
What about performance? Live performance.
That matters. Yep. Okay. That's 14. Live performance. That's a key one we were leaving out that needs to matter.
Yeah.
That's what help people like Chuck B and KRS-One.
What else did Mo D have? You got rap voice on there?
We got voice. Voices too. Lyrics, voice, and delivery is always top 3 for me in terms of MC. Lyric, voice, delivery. Classic,
groundbreaking tracks. Game changer.
No, we got longevity with records. That falls in there. We got longevity.
What about intangibles?
There we go. Because you want to know somebody
Snoop
who has
Doggy Dogg has the highest intangibles in the game.
Him and Scarface for different reasons. I was thinking Scarface, you were thinking Snoop, but we were thinking on the same level.
Define intangibles for the people, though, in this respect.
Hold on. The best way to qualify intangibles for people is to give you examples of intangibly somebody who has intangibles over people who are more skilled and more talented than him. LeBron James is more of an athletic freak than Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant is a more skilled player than Michael Jordan. Neither one of them intangibly have his will to kill in the finish line in the moment where it matters most. His intangible about that supersedes what they have over him in athletic ability and in actual skill. Like Kobe's a better shooter. LeBron is a better all-around talent. That guy right there will eat their fucking food in his prime because intangibly he's got something inside him that is maniacal about wanting to kill the other opponent. You heard that Dominique Wilkins story where he walked in, he's like, yeah, catching this 50 piece tonight, mother. Yeah, that's different. That's that intangible. When you're seeing Tom Brady throw an iPad and curse at the coach of the other team, it's because he intangibly has something that he can't control, and when he's not winning, he doesn't know how to control that thing. Those are those.
You know who else had that? And I've been debating with Ron this past week.
Tangible.
Larry Bird, man.
Yes.
Larry Bird's a killer.
Yes.
Because he was trying to tell me he thought Olajuwon, Karl Malone, Shaq and Kobe, somebody else he said he thought was better than Bird. I'm okay with the Shaq and Kobe thing because of the longevity side of it. And I love Olajuwon. He's the best center I ever watched play. But it's going to be hard for me to actually give him that nod over Bird when Bird waxed them in that finals. I know he was young, but he gave him that 24, 10, and 10. And it wasn't even close.
First of all, Olajuwon averaged 26 points per game in that finals.
Mm-hmm. He did his thing.
And he was going against Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, and Larry Bird in his second year in the league. So,
yeah.
What you're saying is solid. What I would tell you
is close. It's close.
How about this? How about this? When you're actually talking Kobe, Shaq, Olajuwon, and Larry Bird, I'm going to slide one more name in there and put Tim Duncan in and tell you this list right here is usually how the back end of my top 10 players of all time ends, with some variety of these players, right? These 5 players right here are usually the back 5 of my top 10 players of all time. And so I feel what you're saying. It's all about how you want to parse it. I usually have Larry Bird somewhere in the 5, 6, 7 range. I usually have Olajuwon somewhere 8, 9, 10 range. I usually keep Tim Duncan solid at number 6. The thing about
Olajuwon that I would say, right? You know, obviously he won those 2 championships when Jordan was out playing baseball. But I think that the fact that they weren't able to get over certain humps, like the Jazz, that doesn't even compare to the teams that Bird was able to get through with the Sixers and beating that Lakers squad and beating the bad boy Pistons.
No. That's not fair, and I'm going to tell you exactly why that's fair. Because in Kevin McHale, Larry Bird had somebody comparable to everybody else's best front court player every single series he played in, and he was generally the best player in the series unless he played Magic or Kareem.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on, let me say this.
You think he's better than Worthy? You think McHale's better than Worthy?
Yes. Kevin McHale is a better player all time at his position than James Worthy is, because Kevin McHale, to me, is a top 5 power forward. As in, when we are talking about power forwards, it goes Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and then after that, we can have an argument. Because Charles Barkley didn't stay in shape, Karl Malone didn't win, and Kevin McHale used to give both of those motherfuckers the business.
Man, I'm sorry, man. Kevin McHale's not on Karl Malone's level. Come on.
Kevin McHale, hold on. Kevin McHale is
Charles Barkley.
Hold on. Stop for a second. Kevin McHale is a better post player than both of those guys. Period.
Okay. He had that size.
Hold on.
And you know, Kevin McHale and Tim Duncan had something in common.
As a power forward, where's the game played? The game is played in the block on the post. You're telling me that somebody at that position is not as good as him at that, but is better than him? No,
but see, you know what him and Tim Duncan had in common? They were centers. They were centers that were masquerading as power forwards.
Kevin McHale 6'11", Tim Duncan 6'11". If you want to say that, that's fine. But here's the reality.
I thought Tim was 7 feet.
He might be 7 feet, but what I'm trying to say is that if I'm putting my top power forward list together, it goes just like this. It goes Tim Duncan, it goes Kevin Garnett, because Kevin Garnett is the best 2-way power forward ever. It's not even a conversation. There's been nobody as skilled at the power forward position as him. He can bring the ball up the court. He can shoot the 3. He's Defensive Player of the Year. He's an MVP. He's an NBA champion.
He's transcendent.
Hold on. He used to give it to Tim Duncan and Rasheed Wallace in their prime. If you go look at Kevin Garnett.
I love Kevin Garnett.
If you go look at Kevin Garnett's numbers versus Tim Duncan's numbers in their prime head-to-head, Kevin Garnett has the better numbers and doesn't have the better.
I've always argued that Kevin Garnett is the better player between the two. He just got drafted to a team that wasn't as good as Tim Duncan. Can you imagine if Kevin Garnett got drafted to the Spurs?
Hold on. This is exactly what I say about that every time somebody says that.
DeCarlo says, what about Dirk?
No. If you know, Tim Duncan has 5 rings, right? You put Kevin Garnett with the Spurs, he has 5 rings too. That's what I think.
What about Dirk?
Dirk is 6 on my list. So it goes Tim, KG, Kevin McHale, Charles Barkley. If you want to put Barkley ahead of McHale, I'm cool with that.
Kevin McHale's not better than Dirk. Come on, man.
I do think he's better than Dirk.
He's not.
You
hold Kevin McHale extremely high.
I do, because his post moves are the best shit that I've seen next to Olajuwon. What say you? The game is played in the post at the power forward position. Mike, if it wasn't for Larry Bird, people would be writing like poetry about how Kevin McHale moves in the post. He's very much Olajuwon-like in the post. He has better footwork than David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley in the post. He's a power forward. He has 3 rings. He won 6th Man of the Year. He's an all-star game MVP. He's an all-star. He's one
Terrence
of the
Keith says Coop is delusional. McHale is not better than Karl Malone. I'm agreeing.
Hold on. In that finals that you're talking about, it was actually Kevin McHale shaking down Olajuwon. Go look at the tape. I'm going to go look at the tape because you talking crazy. Hold on. When people talk, Kevin Garnett. Ask Kevin Garnett where his footwork come from, Mike. Who drafted Kevin Garnett?
Yeah.
Who drafted Kevin Garnett?
Kevin McHale drafted Kevin Garnett. The real Leonard Washington says, in what world...
Ask Kevin Garnett where he get his footwork from.
In what world is Kevin McHale better than Dirk? That's what the real Leonard Washington says. Listen,
Dirk
we could be on this.
The only part of Dirk's game that's better than Kevin McHale is Dirk's a better shooter. He's not a better passer. He's not a better rebounder. He's not a better defensive player. He's not a better post player.
What the numbers say?
Nothing.
What the numbers say?
Oh, don't.
What's Kevin McHale's career numbers?
Pull them up. Because the only thing Dirk got on is scoring, I'm telling you. Like, Dirk's not better at Kevin McHale than anything except for shooting. Y'all are crazy. If one guy is better at one thing and the other guy's better at 7 different things, no.
Kevin McHale's career stats are 18, 7, and 2.
Okay.
Right? 18, 7, and 2.
That's fine.
Let's see.
But he's not better. But hold on. But who thinks Dirk is a better rebounder, passer, post player, defensive player?
Dirk is 21, 8, and 2.
Right. But where is he? Hold on. 21, 8, and 2 for somebody that was the leading man the whole time while this guy was second fiddle, and y'all numbers are comparable is kind of making my story. The numbers are comparable. One guy's second fiddle, one guy's top dog. So, we need to end the conversation right here because Kevin McHale is a superior player to Dirk on every level except for shooting. And everybody who knows basketball knows this shit. I'm so tired of you young niggas who don't know shit. Go watch some tape with your young ass.
All right, man. Let's get out of here, man. We going on 3 hours.
The young dudes need to watch some tape and stop thinking it because Dirk know how to shoot. Dirk never did. Dirk's not a good defensive player. Dirk's not a good rebounder. Dirk's not a good passer. Dirk didn't become a great team player until pressure got applied to his ass. He's not better than Kevin McHale. No, he's not.
Yo, man. We need to pick this up on Wednesday, man. I'm going to go do my research on Kevin McHale because, again, I never ranked Kevin McHale when it comes to power forwards. I have heard Charles Barkley say that Kevin McHale is the best power forward he ever played against.
Did Charles Barkley say that?
I've heard him say that.
Hold on, Mike. Most people who saw Charles play think Charles is the best power forward they played against. What does it say that the best power forward that everybody else played against thinks Kevin McHale's the best guy?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go do my research on Kevin McHale. I'm a big Bird fan though, and I can only imagine with the fundamentals and the vigor that Bird played with, it had to rub off on Kevin as well. And that front line was crazy. Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. But what I was gonna say, if you sit here and line up, let's just say Parrish, Bird, McHale, then you got Worthy, Kareem, Magic. How is it going? What's the ranking? Who's number 1, 2, 3? Because Kareem is Kareem.
Kareem is Kareem, so he's number 1.
Okay.
Magic is number 2.
Okay.
Slightly. And here's what I mean slightly. Because Magic is the best passer who ever picked up a basketball. Okay. Larry Bird is not the best shooter who ever picked up a basketball because that belongs to Steph. But here's what Larry Bird is.
Larry Bird's intangibles are just off the scale.
Larry Bird still might be the best clutch shooter who ever lived.
Yeah.
He still might be that. So it would go it would go Kareem, Magic, Bird, McHale, Worthy, Parrish.
I think you're sleeping on Worthy. That's my debate right there between Worthy and McHale.
No. Because here's what I'm trying to tell you, and we're gonna leave it right here. If Larry Bird doesn't exist, Kevin McHale is an MVP who averages 25 points and 12 rebounds a game for his career. If Magic Johnson doesn't exist, James Worthy doesn't put up those numbers because a lot of what James did is predicated on how they ran that system. And
I don't know, man, because James was the number 1 overall pick. James was the number 1 guy at that North Carolina team that had Michael Jordan.
No. Hey, how about this? James showed up during Michael Jordan's sophomore year and was like, shit, I'm not the best player on this team anymore.
That's Michael Jordan. But the fact that he ever was, and then he was the number 1 pick coming out of that North Carolina team that had Jordan.
Then he ended up on a team, with all due respect. You keep in mind, you're talking to somebody from North Carolina, from Charlotte. He ended up on a team with Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. How many free opportunities did he get? How many double teams did this guy not see in his prime because Magic and Kareem was there?
I think you can look at it like that, but I also think that his stats suffered from that too.
No, it didn't. Magic's not a shooter.
Magic was still putting up points.
No. This is what I'm trying to tell people. Unless they were in a half-court set, James Worthy was the first offensive option most of the time, even over Kareem, especially when Kareem got old, which was right about the time they drafted James.
Well, James got there at 80, I think.
No, I got there 82.
82? 82. Because Jordan came at 84. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So James came in 82. By the time 85 is rolling around, he's the first offensive option. Because in 86, Kareem's averaging 10 points a game, Mike. So, he was the first option on that team. And they ran a fast-breaking type of team that was perfect for him on the wing. It was perfect for him. We don't know what he looks like without Magic there feeding him the ball, and without Kareem demanding attention in the post. We don't know that.
Man, this show just went left. All right.
I don't believe I'm fighting for Kevin McHale over James Worthy. Everybody in Charlotte is going to kill me.
All right, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Great show, and let's holler Wednesday. We'll get Wednesday. What we'll do is we're gonna get those criteria together, and we're gonna start running artists through there and just seeing what this thing looks like.
We're only missing one. We stopped that live performance at 14. We need one.
I said
more.
Intangibles.
Oh, Intangibles.
That's how we got on this whole basketball conversation.
It is. That's where we're going. I got a rock-in playlist I'm gonna put for people to know who the microphone fiend is.
All right, man. Y'all have a great weekend.